What is up, everybody? Welcome to day 2 of the round of 4 here in the ASL. Day 1 was incredible. What a TVP we saw there. Mind actually overcoming Best, and one of the most commanding performances we've ever seen in the matchup.
It was pretty amazingly done by Mind. Really inspiring stuff there. Very, very smart plays. And, Best, I am a little bit disappointed. I mean, he got to the round of 4, so I don't know that it's fair to expect much more than that. But I wish he had switched it up just a little bit more.
Yeah, it did seem like he really had this, approach, and he wasn't willing to kind of back out of it. It was very much focused on getting a couple shuttles out, looking for opportunities, making 12 Dragoons, and then powering up with nonstop Zealots. In a very, I think, one of the best bust formation builds we've ever seen. I'm still messing around with it on ladder. I'm honestly losing the same way that he is. I think because everybody's watching the same games and then trying to play out what they saw on ladder. But look, I think Best, he looked great. He just didn't seem to have the versatility probably necessary to adapt to a player like Mind.
Yeah. Well, that match is over. We're going into a Zerg versus Terran now. It's going to be herO against JyJ. This is just such a fantastic match. herO has been one of the best Zergs in the world for years at this point. And, of course, JyJ has, the best macro Terran versus Zerg you can ask for.
Yeah, JyJ really coming in here, mechanically looking so good. Honestly, this whole season is just great if you're Terran. I feel like you can really learn a lot from the two Terrans who are different from our routine Terrans we get in here, or even the legends that were rising up over in 2022 and 2021. But herO, this guy, he is a fixture of ASL. We talked about how there's been so many upsets. herO is really the one player who's not an upset who's here right now. And there is a very strong chance that actually herO just goes right into the finals and maybe takes this whole ASL after having lost that ASL in years past to Flash.
Well, he's certainly one of the players that really deserves to win an ASL at this point. There's definitely a short list of players where it's it's kind of a crime that these players haven't won yet. And I would actually say herO is at the top of that list. He's so well respected. He's so important for Zergs and so consistent as well. It's rare to have a top 4 without him in it.
Looking at the predictions here, it does seem to be very herO favored. Let's remind everybody as well that Best had an even more higher percentage of the votes for who was favored to take this. So
yeah.
Even the pros already have shown they don't know exactly what's going on. But this should be an exciting match regardless.
I think it's going to be a very, very good match. I can't imagine it being very one-sided. I think both these guys have more flexibility than what we saw last night, at least from Best. So I do feel like it's going to go back and forth at least a little bit. I'm having a hard time actually predicting it, though, because JyJ beating Sulky, Sulky is a very similar level to herO in this matchup. In fact, I might even say that Sulky I like a little bit more for Zerg versus Terran than herO.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I feel like Sulky's a little bit scarier. herO definitely, I think, might have the best, most hard-to-follow early game. He really knows how to kind of hide what's going on and how to make any scouting not really mean anything. So this should be a really fun match coming into this with these two guys. You think JyJ is going to take it, Tastosis?
Oh gosh, I think it's such a close one. Honestly, with the experience of I'm going to be quiet. There's a video.
Sorry, Tastosis, or what were you saying? Are we going to go to the interview now?
I think so, Tastosis.
Sorry, guys, we don't get to do this part of the show very often. All right, interview time, then we'll talk.
ASL Season15 대망의 결승이 바로 코앞에 다가왔습니다. 오늘 4강 두 번째 대결의 승자는 박성균 선수와 결승전 대결을 펼치게 되는데요. 과연 누가 오늘 살아서 결승으로 올라가게 될지 결승에 올라갈 가능성이 있는 두 선수를 만나서 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 조일재! 야, 웃어요! 뭐 여기 멤버들 보니까 올라가 있는 선수들 보니까 여기서 한 명 한 명 이 테란들 전부 다 정리하면 드디어 왔다. 나의 우승이 하는 그런 표정인데요.
아니요 그런 건 아니고
네.
그냥 연습 과정도 재밌었고 그냥 이제 또 4강 앞두고 뭔가 재밌는 경기 할 수 있을 것 같아서
네.
좀 기분이 좋네요.
이번 시즌이 그 다른 시즌들과 다르게 이변들이 굉장히 많이 나왔습니다. 그 중심에 테란의 반격들이 있었는데 한 명이 정영재 선수고 또 한 명이 박성균 선수예요. 조일장 선수가 생각하는 그 테란들 어떤 테란인가요?
솔직히 뭐 어중퇴 많이 하는데
웃어요.
근데 솔직히 잘하는 테란들이라고 생각을 해요.
네.
그래가지고 뭐 절대 방심하지 않고 그냥 뭐 준비한 대로 열심히 한번 해보려고요.
네. 만년 그 우승 후보 항상 4강에 좀 오면서 좋은 모습 보여줬던 조일장 선수가 오늘 까다로운 상대 정영재 선수를 만났습니다. 정영재 선수는 생애 최초 ASL 4강에 올라왔습니다. 이번에 테란의 그 기세가 하늘을 찌르는데 박성균 선수가 괴수를 때려잡고 올라가는 모습 보고 좀 어떤 생각하셨습니까?
일단 결승이 태태가 될 것 같아서 너무 죄송하고요 팬분들한테.
와! 아니 그래 조일장이 지금 곰이 좀 뭐 결승 올라가서 우승한다 그런 생각하고 있는데 정영재 선수 입장에서는 조일장 선수 걸린 게 땡큐!
좀 강한 상대라고 생각하긴 하는데
네.
8강에서 이미 큰 벽을 넘었기 때문에
우와!
충분히 올라갈 수 있다고 생각합니다.
와! 큰 벽! 그러면 조일장은 작은 벽! 와! 이렇게 큰데 작은 벽! 넘을 수 있는 쉬운 벽!
그 정도는 아니고.
담벼락! 네! 와! 그 정도 아니에요? 웃어요 자꾸! 네 아니에요. 아니 오늘 조일장 선수
네.
지금 여기서 이제 작은 벽이라는 이야기 나왔습니다.
네.
네, 넘을 수 있는 저 결승 간다는 마인드예요 지금.
네 일단은 저도 민철이가 올라올 거라고 생각을 했는데
네.
영재가 좀 준비를 잘해왔더라고요.
오.
근데 뭐 기교는 거기까지인 것 같고
네.
4강에서는 이제 제가 이기도록 하겠습니다.
와! 기교로 올라온 테란. 기교 테란. 와! 자 그러면은 이 김민철 선수와 조일장 선수를 이렇게 나눠놓고 보면 어느 쪽이 더 진짜 김민철 훨씬 더 강해요?
솔직히 8강과 4강이 바뀌었다고 생각합니다.
와! 바뀌었어요. 오늘 그러면은 진짜 8강 같은 4강이네요. 그럼 오늘 경기 잘 풀리면은 몇 대 몇 승부 예측하세요?
잘 풀리면 한 4대2, 4대1 정도 나올 것
4대1. 와. 조일장 최고가 되기 위해서 지금 여기서 이제 대란의 그 기세가 좀 엄청나고 철벽이 무너진 상황에서 이제 공격까지 무너뜨릴 준비가 지금 끝난 상황인데 오늘 경기는 뭐 그냥 오늘 4대0 승부 만들어낼 수 있는 겁니까?
1세트 이기면은 4대0 가능할 것 같고
오.
1세트 지면은 그래도 한 4대2 정도?
오! 네, 자 그럼 오늘 끝으로 자 경기 준비하고 있는 정영재 선수에게 또 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
여기까지 올라오느라 고생했고 이번 시즌 형이 먼저 결승 갈게.
야! 그렇다면 정영재 선수는요 조일장 선수에게 한 말씀.
만년 우승 후보신데 오늘도 우승 후보였으면 좋겠네요.
야! 와, 이 두 선수의 각오가 하늘을 찌르고 있는 상황입니다. 과연 이번 승부에서 결승에 올라가면서 ASL 상승 선수가 누가 될지 여러분의 뜨거운 박수 함성으로 4강전 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
Castor Park is a pro. I love his work, man. All right, Artosis, finally it's your turn to talk. What were you thinking about?
Dude, I don't even remember. I don't even remember anymore, Tasteless. I don't know what's going on. Another video?
Sorry, I didn't know.
자신만의 기록을 ASL 내에서 만들어 가고 있습니다. 6번이나 지금은 4강 진출을 하면서 저그 선수들 중에서 탑입니다.
와, 스쿼지. 와, 완벽하게 잡아먹었어요. 연속우선 도전하자 4강에 미끄러졌습니다.
4강에서의 그런 승률이 좋은 편은 아니에요. 하지만 조일장 선수 여기서 포기할 수는 없습니다.
이제 조일장은 이 타이밍을 놓치지 않죠.
돌덩이처럼 단단합니다, 조일장.
무너지지 않아요.
4강의 척으로 우뚝 솟았습니다. 처절한 승부, 치열한 승부 끝에 리벤지에 성공하면서요.
어중간한 테란 애들 어중간한 테란
어중패.
변수가 크지 않다라고 생각을 했었는데
화력으로 밀어버려요. 첫 번째 8강 도전을 하고 있지만 4강으로 넘어가지 못.
철벽을 넘어야 됩니다.
파이어맨
기우게
아니 내가 능력들이
계속 나와요.
두려움도 없고요.
싸움을 위해 태어났습니다.
무서움도 없고요.
계속해서 떨어지고 꺾이고 쓰러지고 한 상황에서도 한계를 극복하는
Are we safe now, Tastosis? Can we find
I
out what
don't-
you think now?
Tasteless, I'm not.
Oh my God.
Even though we're on camera, I'm not even going to say anything because I know a video's about to start. You're like setting me up for failure right now. You know, all I want to do is talk about this TVZ and like how good JyJ is, and you keep doing this to me, man. It's truly unfair.
I can't believe I forgot that many times. We just recorded match 1 of the round of 8 yesterday, so I can't believe I screwed up the start of the show that much. But look, going into this match, I think what you said earlier is pretty true. I think Sulky maybe is a little bit stronger. ZVT a little bit scarier than herO, but herO's a guy I never want to count out. Although JyJ is coming in here with a very modern, very clean, very mechanical, very clean style that I think is going to be tough for any Zerg to go up against.
Yeah, that is going to be a little bit difficult, but you have to get there first. And one thing I want to mention is something I've seen from herO is he'll set up some things that are tactically so genius that it almost hurts your brain to see. Like I remember one game in particular where like there were Valkyries coming out, and the way that he ran around with his Mutas and Scourge, he somehow forced a separation between the Valkyries and the Marines, and like ended up winning the game. And it was just absurdly strong. So you're gonna have to play like really tightly, really intelligently here against herO. And it's a best of 7. You gotta be able to bend a little bit, and it feels like JyJ, his wins are almost all on macro play. He did end up winning that weird 2-port Wraith opener that he set up for the whole series against Sulky, but like, you know, most of his wins were just based off of very good mechanical play late game.
I do think herO's very good at planning as well. And, you know, JyJ's style, his journey here is one that herO has certainly reviewed the VODs of and probably come with something pretty well prepped. We may see something similar to what happened with Mind or Best, where Best's top-tier play was kind of out and exposed, and that allowed Mind to basically lab out a way to approach the overall game that just didn't let Best do what he needed to do. And, you know, Best style, it wasn't that different from, in some ways, stay with me on this, than what JyJ is doing. It's very straightforward. You know, it's about powering up, having the muscle on the map, and then attacking at the right time. And, you know, let's see what herO has planned here. I think herO is a very, very tricky player to come up against, especially when he has a lot of games against you. And this is a best of 7. We never have more games than a best of 7, and best of 7s, even in Brood War, are pretty rare. So this should be a really fun match.
Best of 7s really only occur at the very end of tournaments, and you know
sometimes
this is
not even always. You know,
yeah. Actually, back in the OSL and MSL days, it was best of 5s in the finals. The thing is, you can like a best of 7. You're gonna have the better player win almost every single time. Like there's volatility in Brood War, but when you get up to the best of 7 range, it's like that, dude. You're really grinding it out and seeing who is playing a better series.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the best of 7 feature is really a bleed over from GSL, where they started pushing best of 7s in the finals, and I think, you know, this is produced by the same people. I think they kind of pulled that one over. But this is going to be a fun one. I think it should be a long and pretty close match. I think I'm maybe leaning a little bit towards herO here, but I wouldn't be surprised if JyJ moves on. And let's not forget the winner of these two does go on into the finals, up against Mind. So either a ZVT finals or a TVT finals.
Yeah, that's I actually wonder, right, because this is the funny back and forth of it, is JyJ just had beat Sulky, who's like one of the best macro Zergs, right? So herO has a ton of info going in on how he's going to play. But if he utilizes that to beat JyJ, suddenly we have so much Zerg vs. Terran from herO on the record that Mind can use. So it's kind of funny in that regard, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of prep from one side.
How funny. We really haven't seen these guys play before. Just one game. So, I mean, there's nothing you can really glean from one game. Somebody had to win it, you know? But, yeah, let's kind of come into this with our minds a bit of a clean slate. Again, JyJ, really his ZVT has been so strong. This was originally a very Zerg-heavy tournament. Now the only Zerg remaining is herO. So if he can actually use that TVZ to push himself ahead, I mean, he's definitely got that part of the tournament out of the way, and all he'll have to do is try to figure out how to TVT against Mind. And by the way, I do think Mind, if he's playing as well as he is in his other matchups, probably very tough to beat in TVT, despite how modern JyJ's style is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of high-level decision-making there as well. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there. herO is going to have something to say about that to see whether or not is JyJ ready to go to a finals. That's like a big thing. I remember a few years ago people talking and asking Flash about JyJ. They're like, should you go coach JyJ? It seems like he's on the brink. And Flash was literally like, no, he's too good. He needs to figure out his own stuff to make the final leap up to being championship level. And we're going to see now if he's actually done that, right? Has he got enough of his own stuff to bring him to the finals and possibly his first ASL victory?
Yeah, that's the big question. And he does have a very clean, robust approach to the matchup. I'm so excited to see what herO wants to do, though. herO's a player who's been around for a very long time. This should not be confused with the many other herOs we've had in StarCraft. This is an ID that's had a lot of overlap, but if you followed StarCraft 2 in the past, that's not the herO you're thinking of. There's also been herOs outside of Korea that have been competitive players. Obviously, he's not that either, but he has been very much present since the very start of ASL, all the way through remastered, and even up to now. He's always been a threat. He's always looked very good.
Yeah, it's actually an important thing to mention is there's been, I believe, 5 professional gamers between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 with the ID herO. It's actually, it's an epidemic. It's a problem. People need to
stop using this ID.
Yeah.
And then Rain needs to go as well. We've had Rain.
Dragon needs to go. There's a few IDs where it's like, guys, seriously,
IDs
stop.
with Marine in them probably don't need to be around anymore.
Yep. No more Marine IDs, guys.
And, you know, respect to these guys for having it. But, you know, look, this game's been around for 25 years. We're probably going to have another 25 after this. We've got Stormgate around the corner. RTS is in a very good spot. But if you're someone who's going to be a competitive player and you're going to name yourself, try to make sure that nobody else has it.
Yeah.
Because that is unfortunate. You have multiple players named herO. Even with Rain, I mean, there was a StarCraft 2 Rain who was super famous for all these crazy rushes and aggro plays, and then meanwhile there's a StarCraft 1, then into StarCraft 2, then back into StarCraft 1 Rain, who really kind of stole the spotlight and frankly kind of stole the ID away, you know?
Yeah, and then you kind of got forgotten, and you got to have like an asterisk, like, oh yeah, there was another guy with this ID. I don't know. I just try to be more original.
Yeah.
You know, JyJ, of course, using his initials as his ID. The thing is, these IDs, even when I don't like them initially, they grow on me. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, over time, you start to get this emotional attachment to them, and, you know, it means more. I look back at the IDs that I really loved as a kid, and I think, oh, you know, that must have just been kind of a time and a place I was in. Or it's even like band names that you like when you're a teenager, you know, or, you know, your first year or two of college where you find a music group. And I don't know, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. All right, I think we're getting ready here to go into map 1. It's going to be on Silford, 3-player map. Definitely has some interesting things positionally for where you're going to spawn that we'll talk about when we get into that. Looks like this was JyJ's pick. It is a somewhat straightforward map, but there are some tricky issues in dealing with Mutalisks here in the early mid-game. So we'll see where they spawn and talk about that a little bit more. What's your final thought here, Tastosis? What map score are you thinking in for who?
I'm thinking we're going to go to Game 7. I think it's going to be 4-3 for herO, but maybe JyJ can power through. We're going to find out. And it looks like we're ready to do this. Our 3-player map, 3-spawn map. Silford will be where it starts out. Again, the winner of this best of 7 will go on to the finals against Mind in the Season 15 of ASL.
All right, up at 12 o'clock, we have herO. And on the left-hand side, we have JyJ. So, just to mention, you know, I was talking about the Mutalisks. There are...
Did you see JyJ's headset? It's almost like falling off of the front of his head.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
So weird.
I hope they put him back on camera.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get him back on camera. I'm going to see if it moved in the next cast, but I want to point out it was like, you know, when your headset's like turned way forward, that it almost looks like a little girl's headband?
Yeah,
that was kind of what was going on there.
Dude, Terran players, man, it can't really be explained. A few things about Terran players. They have weak handshakes. They're not self-aware. You know, it takes you got to give up a lot to get the mechanical skill necessary to play Terran at a high level.
They're not comfortable in their own bodies, man.
Yeah, no, totally not, totally not. But yeah, talking about the actual positions here, because that's actually a big part of Silford. There's a few maps in the pool where, or just a few maps in general, where it really matters for this matchup, the spawn locations. And, like, basically, herO has a good spawn location against that left-hand side, but the left-hand side is the best start spawn for Terran on this map. There are ledges over the minerals at the natural, so you can actually do very good harassment on the left-hand side of the minerals at the natural. So that's something JyJ may take into account. Like, he may go for something like a very quick Valkyrie or possibly like a 4 barracks play where he can force action to be out on the map rather than harassing him. But overall, this is a very defendable base compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah. Definitely the minerals being out there, that's going to be very tempting early on for the Zerg to try to pelt the SCVs with Mutalisks. And of course, let's not forget that later on in the game, we could see mass drop ships from Terran, like maybe 2 to 4, into the Zerg's main. It's also very easy to get in there and do damage like that as well. So there's going to be moments where the game is going to have opportunities for either side to try to come in and do damage. We have a pool first right now from herO, followed up with a hatchery. And it's going to be Terran walling in and making a... Hold on a second. Sorry, I thought it was going to be a command center first. It's going to be a depot and then another command center after that.
Yeah, when they go for a pool first, you have to get the second depot or you're screwed. This is going to be a very fast third hatch on location, and that's a pretty common follow-up to a pool with no gas. When you go like pool first into hatchery, very, very oftentimes you take that third base. And from the Terran point of view here, like really the most you can do is force 2 Sunkens at both bases by doing an Academy Rush. So very, very, very likely that's what we're going to see from JyJ. And I would imagine he's going to tech quickly with that. Because if you try to go heavy bio against this, I think you're kind of doomed.
Yeah, that makes sense. The SCV has not been touched yet. Full HP, continuing to roam. The Zerg's extractor's going to finish. Got to be careful because moments like this, you know, the SCV is never going to heal unless it's repaired by another SCV or healed by a medic. And so the longer you can keep it alive, the better. He didn't see the layers start. I don't think there's going to be any weird kind of Hydra bust.
No.
And yes, I did say that in the matchup. We very rarely see that. I guess it probably wouldn't be a good idea anyways with a second barracks coming down here. But the point I'm trying to make is he doesn't confirm that there's a layer. It's nice to at least see that.
Yeah, you definitely do want to see the layer timing. But generally, like, when you have a third hatch on location and you have a wall, it's going to have to be layer. Like, it would be the most insane cheese ever to try to do anything else because, like, Zerglings just can't hurt you in this situation, and your opponent is setting up for having an amazing economy. And if they don't set up for an amazing economy and you push out and they have to buy 4 Sunkens then, oh man, are they screwed. So, you know, losing that SCV, it's a little bit frustrating. He will pop out another one, but it's going to be what he expects when he ends up scouting it.
More drones are being cranked out here for herO. And what's turned out to be a pretty standard, bit of a slow start to this series. The Academy is going to finish up soon. We see an eBay soon, is that correct? Terran has to go eventually,
yeah, we'll
right?
see the Academy and then the eBay probably in 20, 30 seconds, something like that. Pretty standard timings on all of that as well. But the big thing I'm looking for is what the factory timing is going to be, because when you're playing against a build like this that's going super heavy into economy, again, you force the sunken colonies, but you can't actually damage Zerg because they're going to make that static D because they have to. So it's like, okay, are you going to make a third barracks? Are you going to make a fourth barracks? Well, you're not going to really get much done. Maybe I like it personally when strong Terran players go for like a quick factory after 2 barracks here.
Okay, well, we'll see if he does that coming up here. We have the Marines moving out on the map. We have herO basically preempting the threat by having their own creep colonies come down that can be morphed into sunken colonies. Beautiful block with the 2 fire bats. So nobody's able to do any kind of counterattacking here. It's unlikely JyJ would ever commit, especially as these sunken colonies finish. 2 on the high ground, 3 on the low ground. It's probably all you need. The Spire is moments away from finishing, and we're going to have a lot more Mutalisks coming out next.
Yeah, this is like all so very, very standard. The third sunken shows how safe that herO wants to be here. He actually popped some more speedlings out as well, which I find kind of interesting. Because it does, like, I can't imagine JyJ actually diving on anything here, right? Like, oh god,
well,
he's actually sending out the 2 fire bats. There's a possibility he tries, but it feels a little bit late. I think the mutas are going to be getting out before he has any real opportunity for a break. And if you waste your units into
timed.
Yeah, if you actually attack here and lose everything, it's really bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not even really doing damage to all the sunks. The fire bat's going to come up here and help. There's just not enough. I would imagine even those hotkeys from herO are hot. I'm sorry, those sunken colonies are hotkeyed, is what I'm trying to say. So you can target down individual Marines. 2 sunken colonies, shooting at once can kill a Marine. There's no way to heal it in time. And that was a really bad opener, honestly, for JyJ. Yeah,
it doesn't even make sense. And you can see he went for the very fast factory, like I was suggesting, off of 2 barracks, which means he just doesn't have many Marines. Like, look, that's basically his Marine force. So he's going to be pretty low on units. Hopefully he has some good turrets up. Gosh, he's a little bit late on some of the turrets, but maybe they're going to be up before the mutas get in there. Yeah, just the 7 joining now. 7 will one-shot an SCV. So that's what you're kind of looking for this harassment. And that's some good turret setup. Okay, so I think even though he wasted that bio, it's not game ending. It's definitely not a good move that he did, but it's not game ending.
Yeah, but I mean, this gives a lot of room to breathe on the map right now. If you're herO, he is continuing to amass these mutas. He's doing a great job just killing off these SCVs. And, the Marines are going to chase him away. He is going to end up eating more turret shots. He might even drop a muta or 2, depending, especially with his scan over there. He's now down to 6 Mutalisks.
This is looking really good for herO right now, honestly. Like, he got a good amount of SCVs. He's forced a ton of turrets. He sees exactly what's going on, which, again, is probably what he expected to see as well. He's already got his Evolution Chamber up, his Hydralisk Den. He's already got the Hive on the way. So for JyJ, he's going to have to get up to vessels as quickly as possible, start hitting his irradiates, and get this into a macro game. But herO with 3 bases this quickly is going to be feeling comfortable with that.
herO's in a great spot. That Queen's Nest is done. We're going to have the Hive inbound momentarily. We are seeing more hatches get made in the main. We saw a macro hatch, and I think a second macro hatch. And we've seen this already be a little bit popular this season, is you kind of don't even try to grow into expansions. You just get enough drones that you're ready to power up on the map and play a very safe, conservative game from the Zerg standpoint.
Yeah, his economy is very good right now. Like, he's got a super healthy amount of drones. This is something that, as you said, is really popular right now, and like especially from herO, I would say, is throwing down multiple macro hatches in that main base. So he's going to field a pretty darn big army, and you're going to need to control just right on your Marines and Medics and try to deny him from getting a 4th base, because that's really, as you get into a bio game, as you get into that early late game, you have to delay that 4th gas. It's so critical.
Yeah, and the way that Zerg plays this is they're not going to take the 4th gas until they have a real strong army behind them. We've seen plays in the past where people try to get lurkers, lurker eggs blocking, like the other main here or one of these other high ground locations. And I guess on Silford nowadays, Zergs just don't feel that safe. There's not a lot of options for places to try to go to. So instead, what we have is the Zerg really power up, and the flex is going to be the moment that they can actually take that 4th base. And by then, they're going to be happy to actually take the Terran in a full-on on fight. Not some kind of fancy tactical position, but one where they've got Dark Swarm, they've got a bunch of Adrenal Zerglings upgraded, they've got everything they need.
You see real big anti-drop in that main base, really looking out for that possibility of drops you were talking about earlier. It doesn't look like JyJ is really focusing on that at the moment, really instead getting up his 3rd base. That's a very, very fast 3rd base, which I think is a great call here, and roaming about with his vessels. Right now, he's got to just start hunting Defilers. Defiler is the #1 choice for Radiate. Lurkers are a great choice, and even the Mutas. It's pretty good to reduce the Mutas right now because the way he's utilizing those Mutas, like, you can't really do a drop.
Yeah, well, it's smart. This has been something that's been pretty popular, not even just in this matchup. I mean, we saw mass shuttles flying into the Terran's main. Some of the same ideas here with dropping a bunch of Medic Marine inside the Zerg's main here, too. But the easy response to that is to just have a big army inside the main. The drops aren't good just because they're drops. They're good because you're hitting in a place that they're not. And by the way, that's so much damage. Oh, my God. He basically got almost all the Mutas. Oh,
yeah.
my word.
Yeah, he really reduced those. I didn't mind the push out to just kind of get some intel there, but yeah, that was very high value there for JyJ. Now, we see him adding a 2nd factory. He didn't get the add-on on the 1st one, but it feels like he's getting ready for mass siege tanks. So that's actually kind of an interesting play because we actually don't see like Hydra Lurker Defiler. Instead, this is going to go into Ultras, which generally siege tanks aren't very good against. But we'll see what he goes with that. It looks like herO coming out, trying to move forward with like kind of a cheeky little push with like only a couple Lurkers there, but does get caught.
I mean, this has been just incredible here by the Terran. He's won every possible fight. Zerg is stuck inside of his base now. I think you're right, Tastosis, about the Ultras. Tanks don't really help at all versus that. You want more vessels and infantry. But my God, JyJ has just been like a wrecking ball here in the middle of the map, destroying anything that it touches.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with his roaming. This is where he's very, very strong. We've already gotten into a game where JyJ can really flex the best part of his game. But herO's not, like, behind yet. Like, herO's still completely fine. It's okay for him to not have a 4th base yet. He has to start thinking about that right away, though.
Yeah, otherwise he's just going to fall behind. Is that a hatchery being made in the upper right? Or the bottom right main in the upper right part of that? Okay, so he's going to try to expand in from behind.
Yeah, this is actually a very, this is getting more and more popular lately, basically. Like, you hide the hatchery in the side, then you Nidus in, and you have the base. And you can see, like, JyJ sent a group there to make sure there's no base and doesn't see it. Oh, that's a huge plague there. He has all 6 vessels plagued now. Very annoying to deal with.
Yeah, impressive stuff so far here. Oh my God, he actually manages to hit that one vessel. That's the crazy part. You know, it almost feels like this game is too perfect when you see a plague connect on vessels and then you see one muta come in with the glaives and kill a whole bunch. It's like, my God, how is this game real that it all ended up kind of working out this way? More vessels are being rallied across the map. There are 2 bases being taken right now. One hidden, one in plain sight. I gotta say, herO's been a little bit underwhelming. My God, how many kills does that Firebat have? Please click on that. He's been a bit underwhelming with his link control. You know, we have these lines of Zerglings that have just been eaten up by Firebat shots.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy, no doubt about that. It looks like the Muta's coming out to snipe some more vessels in here. Love to see it. And trying to get some Irradiates down onto these Ultras. The Ultras are on 4 carapace. Looks like they're going to go ahead and hit that mineral-only base. So that's a little bit annoying to deal with. But really here, herO is just trying to buy some time while he gets an additional base or 2 up.
Damn, big connects on those vessels. If JyJ does lose control of this game, it's going to be because of the number of vessels that were killed here. Remember that an Ultralisk can literally live through an Irradiate. It's one of the only things that takes damage from an Irradiate that doesn't die from it. In fact, I think it might be the only thing. Is that right? Maybe a Devourer or something like that?
Yeah, I want to say,
sure.
I believe a Devourer just barely lives through it as well.
But the point in case is that, like, what you want to do is get as many Irradiates over through the game, and that includes getting them on Ultralisks when they're not fighting, taking out Defilers, and the fact that we only have, I think, about 6 vessels in this game can be a little bit alarming, all things considered. By the way, that hidden base is done, or the hidden hatchery's done, so we can make the hidden base soon.
And all this time buying is actually done pretty well. Like, he did force that liftoff at the mineral-only base. The Marine count is getting reduced over and over. JyJ's having a hard time actually fielding a large enough army to really push back on the Ultra Defiler. And as those Defilers come forward, and as he gets this base set up, the game is looking better and better for herO.
Yeah, herO's starting to fight back. It's kind of wild when you consider just how much he got beaten up early on. He's going to get the gases at both of these bases, and that's going to be a lot more Ultralisks. Terran, you know, they were making some progress on the map. It seems like that's kind of all gone. And no Plague over there on that infantry, but no mineral base being mined. It does feel like JyJ needs to do something. Maybe this move here is what we needed to see have happen. Because otherwise, it's just going to be herO growing more and more on the map.
Yeah, well, he definitely does need to kill that base. It looks like a little Dark Swarm will interrupt mining here at the third base of JyJ, at least for a moment. But yeah, this bottom right base, that does count as his 4th gas. So definitely something he has to watch out for here.
Yeah, Firebats are going to try to fight back now. Remember that third base that Terran's been on, any of these 3 bases that are mostly in the middle, they don't actually have that many resources. So, you know, you can see players get them, and before you know it, they mine out.
Yeah.
Which is a huge problem. Because the only other base that's close to that, that's not that base, is that mineral only, which also, it isn't exactly the best base to have. You know, it doesn't even have a gas geyser there.
Yeah, definitely not very useful for, like, a Zerg player. For Terran, it's still pretty good, right? Like, you get a ton of minerals out to make more Marines and everything. But look at this, the never-ending Dark Swarm attack here on that third base of JyJ. Very, very annoying to deal with, but he is irradiating a lot. Trying to just keep these bases up. I love the double bunker there as well, but I see this game getting out of control. You notice how there's less and less map control here for JyJ, and when your opponent has 4 gases and a bit of map control as Zerg in this position, like, Defiler Ultra Ling just wrecks.
Yeah, and that's where we're getting at here. You know, he sees that there's this additional gas that's been taken. It's so hard to push in there and kill that base. It's in the back of where the normal base would even be. JyJ is starting to grow. He's getting more and more. Oh my God, there's 10 kills on this Ultra here. I don't even know if JyJ is aware of this. He's going to lose all of his SCVs over here if he's not careful.
Dude, this game, to me, looks like it's wrapping up. Like, this attack on the third base is going to just devastate it. He continues to hit in. Like, the third base seems like it's going to be okay for a little bit longer, but you can see the supplies closing in. Like, herO is really catching up in that. His economy is that full 4 gas, and he's not even going to run out of a geyser for, like, another 3 minutes. So that is a lot of gas income. Look at this, 1 million Scourge coming in. Oh, my God. Oh, so good.
That was crazy. Well, these bunkers are going to fall. I mean, when the Dark Swarm hits, there's not a whole lot you can do. And, you know, even with the SCVs already being thinned out over here, I'm worried that we're just about at the breaking point for JyJ. JyJ still has a decent amount as far as army size goes, and maybe herO should be a little bit cautious about overextending. But he just doesn't have a real income right now. He has no base that's functionally mining.
You know, just keeping the bio count so low has done an amazing job against JyJ because you don't have the critical mass you really need to deal with the Ultras efficiently. So, like, even these tiny Ultralisk attacks we see coming in, 2 to 4 Ultras at a time, is taking JyJ forever to clear, which means he hasn't put enough pressure on that, like, bottom right base. He's attacked it a couple times, but his forces have been too small. He hasn't been able to knock it out. He's going to do a nice eraser over here. A very good idea.
Oh, man. But, well, he does kill off most of the drones. Again, we don't quite have that number of ultras getting high enough, probably to where it needs to be. He might want to back up. If he could just get, 8 ultras or something like that, instead of having the 3 or 4 he seems to be fighting with, he might just have enough. Terran right now is mining minerals with 4 SCVs minus the 1 patch and the natural that everybody's mining from. I think that basically herO just has enough to actually end this.
Yeah. Well, anytime you see the Terran in such a retracted position where it's like you just don't see anything out on the map, you can't be doing that against Hive because Defilers show up and the party's over. Like TVZ, more than any other matchup, I would say, is hinged upon map control. Like, if you have map control as Terran, you're doing well, and if you don't, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, it's very difficult to recover from. By the way, more Scourge taking vessels out. When the vessel count gets this low, opportunities really begin to disappear. I mean, we mentioned it earlier, but, it's happening here now. Zerg's going to expand 2 more times. And, oh gosh, there's actually more vessels than I realized, but I still don't think there's a real way out of this. As long as herO is organized with his next few engages, I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's really closing in now. Like, we have a lot of vessels. There's still, opportunities for JyJ to gain some value, but as these Dark Swarms continue to go down, even if you're raiding the Ultralisks, they're still ending your mining and everything. You can see, this is really the death throes of JyJ. I don't even feel like he played poorly. I think that herO did a masterful job keeping him busy while sneaking that hatchery. If he had not snuck the hatchery in the way that he did, JyJ may have been able to take the game. A really smart move there.
Yeah, very well played. So we're going to be going into game number 2 here shortly. In the round 4, sorry guys. But, I mean, he's basically just outlasted JyJ. There's no way for JyJ to securely mine from anywhere else. He's going to try to come in here with this army. I love the eraser move over here to just kind of have that extra damage out. But there's just too much that is being controlled here by the Zerg on this map. I guess this was the Hail Mary play, though, was to send the infantry down there and try to just stamp out that one base and then stay alive on what he has. Even the Spore, what a dirty play.
Yeah, that's Plague plus Spore is so annoying. You can't even get near to irradiate anything. And I mean, they've got so much health. You know, as a Protoss player, how tanky a Spore colony can be. GG.
Yeah, Spore colonies are the greatest anti-air unit in RTS.
Yeah.
In RTS. Okay, so herO takes game 1. That was an excellent game. I really enjoyed how it panned out. It did seem like JyJ did kind of pull the trigger a little bit too early with that initial attack. He did seem to get into a good place, but herO really played a very difficult mid-game, hiding his hatchery in the other main, in the very back, just to get a Nidus up, just to get the gas up, just to get 4 gases up, and then he powered up with Ultras and started smashing the Terran everywhere.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I think JyJ will definitely remember that and be a little bit more careful about scouting the sides of bases to look for that sneak hatchery. It's a really good tactic to utilize. And herO picks up that very important map 1 on Silford. That was JyJ's pick, so he definitely feels comfortable there. But this time absolutely doesn't work out.
So it's 1-0, Zerg in the lead right now. JyJ, he might have to play a little bit of a more cautious early game here. We're going to go into map number 2 after the short break. Do not go away. We're going to be right back.
돌덩이처럼 단단합니다. 조일장.
저는 심플이즈 베스트인데. 지금 이 상태가 제일 이쁜데요? 아 이거 유니폼 망치는 건데 제가 손대면. 곰 좋다. 아 제가 그림 그리는 막 게임들을 해봤어요. 근데 저보고 재앙이라 그러더라고요.
진짜 잘 그렸다.
아 맞아 맞아. 와. 있었어?
아 이게 근데 진짜 이쁜 유니폼에 눈썹이 되게 웃고 있네. 역대급인데요 지금? 아 푸치고 상체가 너무 긴데? 여기까지만 그리자. 더 이상 그리면은 진짜 이거는 답 없거든요. 여기서 이제 티셔츠를 입고 있죠. 와 나 진짜 역대급 작품이다 이거. 와 조카도 진짜 이거보다 잘 그릴 순 없어요 저는. 팬분들을 생각하니까 이게 그림이 또 그려지네. 평소랑 다르게. 검은색으로 제가 그러면은 특별히 히어로라고. 그리고 갈색으로 좀 칠해줘야지. 곰인데 얼굴 표정만 지으면 되는데 이제 코랑 입을 어떻게 해야 되죠? 오 코 잘 됐다. 오 진짜 잘 그렸죠. 손에다가 또 우리 또 핫식스까지 됐죠.
모든 걸 다 주진 않아.
이렇게 하고 이제 다음 작품. 아 제가 날개가 어디 달려 있지? 머리에 있나? 됐죠? 뮤타스컬지 같죠? 드론이요? 이게 집게고 그 다음에 이게 몸통 이렇게 딱. 그리고 이제 드론은 이제 포인트가 있어요. 꼬리가 있어요. 꼬리가. 얘가 특별히 미네랄까지 수첩까지 날려줄까? 느낌. 아 오케이 이 정도면 된 것 같은데요? 뒤에 사이 딱 마지막으로 조일장. 제가 봤을 땐 4명 중 제일 잘했을 것 같아요. 말이 안 돼 이 작품은. 약모습 이쁘죠? 가지고 싶죠?
맹공의 청영대.
보여요. 레이스 좀 그려주면 안 돼요? 어떻게 생겼는지 기억이 안 나.
떴잖아. 기억해.
아 나 그림에 소질이 없어. 내 이름도 잘 못 쓰는데 나. 죄송하다고 써도 되나요? 미리. 죄송합니다. 다른 선수들은 잘 그렸나요? 와 잘 그린다. 어떻게 그렸어? 아씨 어떻게? 아 베슬. 죄송합니다. 못 그리겠어요. 이게 눈사람이 되어버렸는데요? 여기 이렇게 더듬이가 있었던 것 같아요. 저의 한계입니다 이게. 베슬이라고 적어줘야겠죠? 모를 때니까. 자화상 정도쯤이야. 너무 작게 그렸다. 손은 좀 큰 편이니까. 아무도 안 가져가고 싶어 할 것 같은데요? 재진 눈이 포인트입니다. 그거 말고는 뭐 특징이 없네요. 그래도. 그림을 진짜 너무 죄송한데요. 이거. 죄송하단 말밖에 할 게 없네.
이거는 진짜 제대로 물려줘야 될 그런 작품이거든요. 꼭 지우지 마시고 다른 선수 이름 박지 마시고 꼭 이대로 보관해 주세요. 감사합니다.
일단 기대하셨을 텐데 그래도 기념이니까 잘 간직해 주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Welcome back, everybody. We're now going to go into game number 2. That was an excellent TVZ back there, where ultimately herO managed to overcome JyJ, but this is a best of 7. We've got a lot more games to come.
Yeah. You know, in that game, I don't feel like someone super outplayed the other one. I feel like the only big mistake that game may have been the initial bio rush from JyJ. That generally isn't going to work out against 3 sunken colonies. I feel like that was risky and uncalled for. But, you know, I think they both played a very solid game, and we have a nice series ahead of us.
Before we go any further, we want to say thank you, everybody who supported us on Patreon. We could not do this without you guys. If you haven't signed up already, we hope to earn your support. Sign up for a year. Help the history of StarCraft 1 stay alive in the English language. And you get access to the Secret Tastosis podcast. We can hear our banter before we actually start the recorded section of this VOD that we produce.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun with that. The most random things in the world we talk about. It's like the beginning of a StarCraft 2 game in GSL or something. But
yeah, a little bit of downtime.
Yeah,
we basically record it when we get the VOD and there's like a countdown timer. And it's usually about 10 minutes. We talk through that, and then up until the player interviews come on, and then once we're actually on camera, then you hear what we're saying for the show. But do check it out, and thanks again for your support, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So going into game number 2 here, herO, of course, with the lead. But I think he can tell from that game it's not going to be an easy series. You can't just always be sneaking a hatch to get that 4th base so quickly. You know, really the difference between a win and a loss can be delaying that 4th base for an extra minute, you know? And
right.
That's something, it's not a reliable way to do it. It's a good thing to mix in. It's a good move to pull off. Because really, at the end of the day, like, you're just looking for map wins here, right? You don't have to do stuff that's always replicable. It's all about just getting those map wins and trying to move forward.
Yeah, trying to gather up as many of those until eventually you can get out and then try to focus on that finals that isn't that far away. JyJ did look good. I think you're right, Tastosis. We both agree. Basically, the one mistake he made was he was a little bit too aggro at the start. Didn't help himself.
Yeah. Well, I think he is going to fix that up. We'll see what he has going up next. All right, guys in the audience coming down.
Maybe guys
to
in your
ASL.
chat. Who knows?
Yep. And yeah, it seems like a pretty full studio.
A sign for us. Yeah,
Why
this
does
guy,
everyone thank you for everything, Tastosis? What about me? No one's going to thank me for anything?
You're gone now, Tastosis. Now they text me because they can't find the studio, and I'm like, it's near an ice skating rink, and they're like, I don't see an ice skating rink, and I'm like, all right, I think it's underground. Like, I can try to give you the advice I can give. All right, there's a sign. You're not so bad. Oh, and that even laid up well
guys,
into the comment we made earlier.
He must have heard what I said.
Yeah, he's a time traveler. Actually, he like watched this, and then went back and did that. But then it's like, who started it? Right? It's one of those time travel.
Yeah, it's
mysteries.
one of those loops. That's why the time police are after him right now, man. They're going to
right.
take him out, and we're going to have to recast this series.
I'm like, is that John Connor's dad that just made that sign?
Because of that guy, we're going to find herO's hatchery next time he's going to lose game 1, and the whole ASL is going to go different. herO's really the guy getting screwed here.
We're going to go to map 2. We already had a very long map 1 on Silford. Heartbreak Ridge is where it's going to be played. Why is this the map that's not in English, by the way? Is there a reason for this? This map has an English name.
It's up to, well, we translate everything, but it's up to the map maker to decide how they want to name it, and it's an older map, so I think that's just how it went down.
Boo! All right, guys, we're going to go into map 2 right now on Heartbreak Ridge in English. This is the ASL in English.
Right on the left side, we have herO. And on the left side, we have JyJ. I find it a bit interesting that herO chose this map as his first map choice.
Yeah.
It doesn't stick out to me as like a Zerg favored map. It feels like it's like just, well, it doesn't feel one way or the other to me, I guess, really is what I'm trying to say. You know?
Yeah, sure.
It's like I don't look at this map and think, "Uh-oh, Zerg." You know, it's just it feels like, yeah, I mean, it's got some weird terrain things, like lurkers on those high grounds can really slow things down and everything, but there's all sorts of different opportunities for Terran. The 4th base should be a little bit hard to get for Zerg, so yeah, I don't see any problem.
Yeah, this is a map like we talked about many times before, but like maybe there's a cool cheese or something tricky you can do. Although I feel like if you were a Zerg and you were going to do a cheese on this map, I would wait and let this map kind of come in later. I feel like whenever you see a map picked first, you're always a little bit curious. Okay, why this map?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the same way, the way that you look at a map that's banned and you really think, all right, what do you hate about this? And you can probably guess, right? At this point in time, all the races understand each other pretty well. But yeah, I'm a little bit curious about why he also went for this map right away out of all the maps. And he's going to go hatch first, too, which is interesting.
Yeah. He did do a little scout there, though. He was like looking, he was checking just to see, like, okay, is there a proxy barracks here? But the first couple locations, he checked nothing.
Yeah, kind of funny. So we're going to have a pool on 11. And this game, it's actually a barracks in the main and then a gas in the main. That's interesting. So we're going to have some tech play here from JyJ. herO is getting his own extractor and pool. What do you think about JyJ's build right now, Tastosis?
Well, a lot of Terrans do prefer tech openings on this map. I believe it'll be a 1-1-1. Like, he'll go factory and then command center and then go starport. But it would be really interesting if he went for like a mech play. If you recall, Ample actually took this map off of Soma, which is kind of a big mismatch. Like, Soma is absolutely favored against Ample, but Ample did manage that with a mech build here. So, yeah, maybe they've kind of figured something out. I guess one of the things to mention, if it happens to turn into a mech build after the expand, is that all the terrain in front of the expansions is buildable. So, like, for instance, if you're playing against, like, someone who has a bunch of Mutalisks out, we saw from Ample, you can bring 4 SCVs and just build 4 turrets suddenly, right? And that can really add to the push.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. He is trying to shoo this Overlord away. There is a command center started now, so he's going to get that Vulture out and then basically use the Vulture to go around killing Lings, force a Sunken Colony. And for herO, it's going to be layer into Hydralisk Den. Now, he's going to have to block his entrance from this SCV so he doesn't scout this.
He is prepping right now for not just the Vultures, because remember, you can pop a Vulture over the side, but also possible incoming Wraith. You know, JyJ, we've already seen this from him against Sulky, where, remember, a bunch of games he went for that factory and the command center in the main base and kind of hid what he was doing. There's an Overlord overlooking that natural expansion, and he doesn't see a command center. So right now, as far as you know, JyJ is doing a one-base build.
Yeah, he is... herO's in the dark right now. Not clear at all what's happening. There is an SCV that came up here to mine these minerals. These are empty patches, so once he destroys one patch, he doesn't have to pick up a crystal in his hand, so he can just mine out the other one, just so that's not confusing for you guys that are watching. Yeah, we don't have that second command center landed yet, although I imagine it's going to be coming. Yeah, he's going to lift that off now. He does have an add-on as well. You get a tank with this, right?
Well, if they go Mass Hydra, you'll definitely get a tank, but you generally stay on Vulture when you're going for the starport. You don't really have the money to go tank, and if they go Muta, you'll be in trouble. So it's a bit reactionary, right? Like, you see one Hydra, you're not going to go tank. If you start seeing a lot of Hydras, if you start seeing like Hydra speed come out, absolutely you're going to need a tank or two.
All right, we've got Hydras coming up. And this bunker's going to finish. This Wraith can kill this Overlord before there's anything in time.
And the Vulture's just kind of running past a little bit. Vultures actually can fight against Hydras a little bit in low numbers. There's definitely some good micro you can do, but he's already got a bunker up here. Not, like, too scary, but certainly annoying. Like, look, the bunker position, you can even tell. It's like, it's a little bit to the side, so the Hydras can come in over here. You know, Hydras don't deal damage to SCVs very quickly. It takes 12 shots to kill an SCV. So this is not like a dire circumstance yet, but it looks like Mutalisks are on the way, and I don't see a missile turret, Tasteless.
Yeah, I don't see a missile turret at all. I see the tank is going to drive these Hydras out. That's great. The Vultures are going to come back. They could probably be repaired. But, yeah, if there are 6 Mutas coming, maybe just 4, but, you know, soon to be 6. You're not going to stop at 4. And there's not enough defense in the main. He could really start to take a beating. You know, if you don't have Goliaths or a lot of Wraiths, turrets, you know, in small numbers are never going to be enough.
This is a problem. Like, he's very caught off guard. His engineering bay is not done yet. He made that siege tank, so it seems like he didn't realize mutas were on the way at all. 5 unupgraded Marines against 4 mutas, Tasteless. This is terrible for JyJ. Honestly, I will be very surprised if he's able to pull this game back.
Yeah, this is already kind of rough. You know, okay, hold on, the Vultures come in here. How quickly is herO going to respond? He responds actually pretty damn fast. Meanwhile, the Marines are still being picked off here in the main. You know, there's not a lot of infantry coming out here, so these mutas are just starting to do more and more damage. They're not really being contested. Every SCV that's making a turret is being killed off. He's even got some Scourge to come in here. He can actually hit the vessel with that if he wants. Oh
man.
My God.
Tasteless, I think this is just GG, honestly. The amount of SCVs going
snowballed.
down it's too much. It's too much. You've lost your entire economy at this point. It's not like he has an attack that's ready to counter either. It's like he's going to have a Radiate. That's the entirety of what he has is going to be a Radiate and a Vessel.
Yeah. We don't oftentimes see a player just die to mutas, but it does happen even in like a round of 4 of ASL. I mean, this is brutal. This is a lot of dead workers. And there's 1 barracks. Oof. Think of how many more Marines you need. There's mutas being made faster than there are Marines.
Yeah. If he had more production or something, maybe he could get together an attack and like leverage the fact that a lot of mutas have been spent harassing him. But really, he's still on just the 1-1-1, where he's got just a few production facilities, a few technical units. And that's it. So it's like, okay, well, we can't do any counter damage. So right now, he's got to hope that some attacks come in from herO, and they do very poorly. That's like the game plan.
He's already ready to do that. There's going to be lurkers probably in such a position that they can just wipe the bunker and the SCVs that would repair it. I think it's 4 lurkers total coming out.
He does have a siege tank, so... I don't know. Okay, he sees the lurkers that are morphing, and I'm not sure if he started a second tank. I don't think he did because his economy is so low, but a tank plus a vessel plus these bunkers, I think he's going to live through this.
Well, this would be a pretty big overextension if he did, in fact, live through it. But, man, those... Oh, my God. The SCVs...
Never mind, Tasteless.
Yeah, you know, it's just... Oh, I think there's not... Yeah, there's 1 Marine or maybe 2 Marines inside that bunker. He's going to move this up. This is almost over.
Yeah, dude,
I mean, there's just nothing to fight
over.
the lurkers. And there's going to be more of this coming soon.
So, yeah, it seems like the story of this game is certainly a sad one, right? Like, he saw the 3 Hydras come out, but we saw this even from Sulky, where it was like, Sulky had the same exact build, where he still hit the early muta timing, but had just a handful of Hydras as well. You know, you sacrifice some economy for that, but JyJ really got duped. Like, when you asked about the siege tank, and I'm like, well, only if you see a lot of Hydras. But against 3 Hydras, he made a siege tank, and he had a delayed engineering bay, he had no real anti-air, and the mutas just flew in and killed him. Like, when you commit to the siege tank, you have to be really sure there's no mutas on the way, because every mineral early with a build like this is very important.
That's disappointing. If I'm herO right now, I'm thinking, okay, I've won. Because a win like that says a lot. It shows that there's some faulty thought processes and an inability to kind of finish tasks over on the side of JyJ. I mean, it's really bad. You're not supposed to die because mutas got to your base. We're sort of past that in StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
Turret timings are in the bones of every good Terran player. And by the way, see what I was talking about with the headset on the front of his head?
Yeah. It's coming down. It's going to cover his eyes when
the top of the headset has like a fanny pack on it, too. It's like a very skinny fanny pack. You can unzip and maybe put a pencil that's curved in there.
Yeah, you can. If you have like a little bit of string, you could put that in there.
Yeah.
It's like the most useless zipper in the whole world.
Yeah, I wonder what the deal is with that. Okay, so I hope we don't have a one-sided series, but I have to be honest here, and I have to point this out. Sometimes you see a game like that, and people do not recover from it. It starts to snowball in the series.
Yep. We've seen poor decision-making early on a couple times now. The attack into the sunken colonies certainly was poor. You knew it, I knew it, I think he knew it. And now he's made a siege tank against 3 slow hydras and 5 lings. And so it's like, these are not the right choices. I do wonder if he can recover from this. Hopefully he can take a moment, recompose himself, because I think we saw, at least in the macro portion of Game 1 and the series against Sulky, JyJ can put out some magnificent Terran Berserks, but he's got to nail the opening a bit better. He's got to make sure that he's defending just the right amount. He's not overreacting to anything. And right now it feels like herO is just playing his top-tier games.
Yeah. Fingers crossed for JyJ. I think that if he can get into a more natural macro game, he should be fine. We are going to be going on to his map choice coming up here. I don't expect JyJ to really be taking games off of kind of tricky openings. Not that opening he did in that last game was necessarily tricky. It's pretty standard, but I would expect if we're on more of like your Vermeers or other maps, if he can just roam, he can probably play a pretty good game. Let's not forget that in Game 1, it was a hidden hatchery that allowed for the 4th gas to be taken. Basically, JyJ had won that part of the game through control play and limiting the Zerg from getting a 4th base. If he can do that on a map and not get tricked by some deceptive moves like that from herO, maybe he can take it.
Yeah, I think so. Like, if he just kind of pulls it back, gets into, the portion of the game where Terran gets map control, after they have the critical mass, after the early Mutalisk openings, that's where he's going to shine. And that's where it didn't feel like he really misplayed against herO, at least in game number 1. Here with the technical opening, like, if you look back to the Sulky series as well, his technical openings, it did not feel like they did that well. Right? Like, he was winning games in the late game. There are certainly Terran players, like Royal comes to mind, where you do one of these technical openings, you get a huge advantage, sometimes you win the game immediately. That's not what we've seen from JyJ. So even though he's practiced that type of stuff a lot, I see this pattern emerging. It's really about JyJ get into mass bio vessel, okay? These early fancy moves are not doing it for him.
No, I think it's it's funny. It's not bad, by the way. There's nothing wrong with what we're saying about JyJ, but yeah, you don't need to be fancy early, so don't. Just get all the building blocks set up and then do what you do. Someone like mine, that's really his play, is kind of, tweaking a few dials here and there and then, amplifying some part of his play at the start. Not the case, I think, here with JyJ. Let's see if he has a more stable standard game as we go into Game 3. Remember, herO up with a 2-0 lead. JyJ needs to even this out, or herO's lead may become insurmountable.
All right, the bottom left here, we have herO. And the top left, we have JyJ. Vermeer is, this is the macro map. I would expect JyJ to be able to get into the type of game he wants to play here. This, in fact, in a lot of ways, this could be one of the harder maps for herO in the pool, just because of JyJ's strengths. Not that it's bad for Zerg in any ways. This is really considered like the most balanced map overall. But yeah, it should be pretty comfortable for JyJ's style.
If JyJ is going to win on a map, this should be that map, right? I mean, this is a very fair map, I think, for Terran. The Zerg does have a lot of bases they can try to take. It does lend itself to a lot more dramatic macro games unless somebody trips the other one up early on. So I'm interested in seeing how exactly the mid game is going to look. I think we kind of hit it right on the mark. Oh, hold on. Oh, yes, you're welcome.
There we go, man. Did you know 2 + 2 = 2, Tasteless?
I did. Of course I knew that. It's so good to see you guys in the audience, by the way. It makes us happy. And you guys can still enjoy it even without us, and then you can watch the cast, from home when you're not in Korea. It's just fun. It's so fun going to your first Star League event. It's so magical. I remember when I first went to one out here in Korea. How about you, Artosis?
Oh yeah, no. My first event actually, I was really lucky. I came right in before one of the big beach events that were in Busan.
Right.
And that was my first one. Was going down to the beach and having like 50,000 people cheering and watching like a Pro League finals. It was something else. It was the one where Firebat herO like ran into the ocean. That was a fun. That was
you were at
what
that
an introduction.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that was such a massive event. I think I was at an MSL, probably actually around where this studio is at. Now that I think about it, or one of the convention centers not far from it. But yeah, it's so fun to see live StarCraft and then to get to see everybody reacting in the audience, and really get that feel. It's so cool. So yeah, man, it's great to see that tourists are now able to come down and do it as well.
Totally. And I remember when I moved to Korea and started being able to go to events and stuff, I'm like, I found my people finally. Growing up in New Hampshire, playing StarCraft 12 hours a day, there wasn't anyone quite like me. So, yeah. It's a comfort. By the way, this build from JyJ, he is playing really, really sneaky. He walled in the same way he did against Sulky, where it really looks like a tech opener, and he's making the command center on high ground. So it actually is a marine opener, but he's making it look like something else. And with no command center there, like, you have to make the sunken. You see herO doing that. And he might even make the Hydralisk Den again. That's a real possibility. And so JyJ, like, there are certain things he's dictating here that could mess herO up.
So this is actually fancier than I think what you or I expected. To be totally clear with everybody, this isn't the most optimal way to play, but it can throw the Zerg off.
Yeah.
So, you've got a couple Marines out here. The command center is coming quickly, but you don't have the same setup here. You don't have the Vulture that's going to come out. You don't have the opportunity to get a starport early. I want to see if we're going to get that den from herO. Let's see if we can get herO kind of thrown off the trail.
Yeah, that's the big thing that we're looking for right now. Because if he throws down a Hydralisk Den and makes like 3 Hydras, then JyJ is certainly ahead without any question. As is the command center lands. So you're looking at that land time and saying, oh, I didn't actually need this sunken colony. There is no factory here.
There is a Spire started. The second gas is almost finished as well. So this is going to set itself up for 2-hatch Mutalisk. Second barracks is coming down. There is going to be an engineering bay here. So, I mean, there's opportunities there as well for the Terran to basically defend this rush. I don't think this is going to be a game where a Muta rush is going to be able to kill him. He should be okay.
Yeah, certainly, like, all of his timings are going to be pretty normal here for JyJ. He's already got his 2 barracks. The eBay has been done for a bit since he is rushing up to +1. He's going up into the 4 barracks play, which is the most standard thing to do with that fast +1 against 2-hatch. And, like, he's definitely getting into the type of game that he wants. herO, I love the 3rd hatch in main base. That's going to be completely the right choice against what he's against. And yeah, I think we're actually in for like a big macro game here.
Yeah. We've got the infantry pursuing these Zerglings. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get any of them. Maybe he'll be able to catch these few in the back. Gets 1. 6 Mutas are about to hatch. We've got this, the drone coming down now to the bottom right. And it looks like he'll be taking that bottom right base over there. He's going to see that there's a 3rd hatch, in fact, up here already in the main. So the 4th hatch is going to be down here in this other main. Yeah, we're getting into a very standard macro game, Artosis.
All right, the missile turret's coming up right now. And, well, we just kind of chill and see how these mutas do at first. Because right now, JyJ, he's just trying to get critical mass, get his +1, get his range done, and then he's going to be moving out in the map, and we're going to start to see some real action. By the way, look, I don't know if he meant to have that medic in the SCV line. That's kind of an interesting thing. Like, I've seen that before. I've done that before, where you can put an SCV in there and it'll clean up the damage done by glaives, so you lose less SCVs.
It's not still in there, right? I don't see it.
No, it looks like he pulled out. It was probably just pulled in by the damaged SCV that was scouting before.
Yeah,
but,
these damaged units become magnetic to the medics, so they can be pulled in there. I just wondered if that was like some kind of a technique that you want to try to use.
It is something you can do, but you don't see it that often. That's why I was pointed out that maybe it was something you wanted to do. But look at this. Pretty good harassment so far. It was only 3 missile turrets to start. A lot of the time you start with 4 at your natural because this type of damage can occur pretty quickly. But JyJ is still okay, right? Like there's certainly been some damage, but the mutas took damage too. And as his +1 and the range kick in, his Bioforce is going to be deadly. We're going to have to see at least a couple Sunkens go up at that natural.
Yeah, I think so. There's going to be a wall of infantry coming out, and that has to be respected, which means herO is going to have to dump a certain amount of resources and sacrifice a certain amount of drones into defense. Looks like that army's moving out now. We don't have a Hydra Den, right?
No.
Or I didn't see it if we did. Okay, so there's no Lurker Tech available at all, and it's not going to be in this game for a while. There are a lot of mutas, maybe not enough Lings in combination to take on what JyJ has right now.
Ooh, a medic actually walks out into the middle. Pretty standard for a medic to just wander off by itself and die. The muta's going to go around the side. Now, this is the important part of the game right here. These mutas going to dog that Marine medic force. And notice how herO puts it in between the rally point and where the units are. So he's trying to prevent any other units from coming down to join while he builds up his army. And eventually, he's going to want to crush what JyJ has.
So far, so good. Just chipping away at the infantry. The Lings are going to come in, and I think that herO can actually take this army out. This is a pretty big win. He does have +1 air attack, important to note, that allowed him to snowball the damage there, especially with those glaives. Reinforcements are coming, and he's using those Lings so well to kind of tank damage, and then using the medics as launching pads to attack on, and then have those glaives connect across. Really nicely done here by herO. He's so strong.
Yeah, that was probably the quickest I've seen anyone clear that. That's like, he killed that as quickly as he possibly could, and you can see JyJ's reinforcements were coming up pretty quickly as well, and if those had hit, that wouldn't have worked. So really sharp there from herO. But from here, he really does need to start thinking about lurkers. You can keep making the mutas, and you can make this work for a little bit longer, but you definitely need to get into lurkers because the Marine pumping is not going to stop.
No time soon, that's for sure. He's once again in between where the rally point would be. JyJ is being very patient and basically moving out in pretty big squads of infantry. He's also, I gotta point this out, and this is not obvious, I think, to the casual observer, but the way he has the Marines kind of in a bit of a square, where it's like this big line that the infantry would be engaging in. No, I'm sorry, like they're lined up so that there's no exposed Marine hanging out is what I'm trying to say. It's really good. It's much harder for the Zerg to try to take pot shots. Like a line like this, that's easy. You just hit the one on the edge like that.
Yep.
But when you see them in this sort of box formation where they're sort of grouped together, it's so hard to work around.
Yeah, you want like the flattest line as possible facing where the mutas are coming in. He scans and sees the Hydras sitting at the natural. Hive has just finished up. So he's going to continue to push, and what this will do is force the mutas to come in and fight. More Marines coming as well. The Lurkers are just not ready. The mutas are going to have to do some heavy lifting here, and +1 armor is done for these Marines.
This is big. He's stimming. Is he going to commit? I guess there's only one sunken colony here. The Lurker Egg is tanking a lot of damage. There's a lot you can do with the pathing to try to abuse this position. I still actually think JyJ just might have enough.
It really looks that way. Without the additional sunken colonies, nothing was here to help whittle this down. The Lurkers are going to pop in like 2 seconds. Oh, God, 2 Valkyries come. Dude, this is it.
Oh, that's
this is
GG.
it.
That's
it.
He
He literally wins the game with this move. Oh, unless he just doesn't
scan. What are you doing? Scan.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Okay.
my God. Okay.
He's still got it. He's still got it. But
Yeah,
that
he's still
actually
gonna win.
that got dicey for a moment.
Yeah. He could have won even more, but whatever. A win is a win. That is it. JyJ pulls his head back in his chair. He knows it's over. GG, herO taps out, and the game of catch-up has begun.
All right. Very well played there. He definitely tricked herO a little bit. He forced him into that sunken by hiding his command center. Was it worth it at the end of the day? Yeah, I think just slightly it was. But great play, good reinforcing of his army, a perfect attack timing as well. Like, he hit that just right. herO, maybe slightly too greedy there. He only had the one sunken. His lurkers were a little bit late. He was really trying to completely control the game with the Mutalisks.
I love it. I'm glad that JyJ's back. This is really exciting. And now we're going to go into Game 4 here. Finally, we're having a real match. I was worried that it was going to snowball here with herO taking it game after game after game. JyJ with actually a pretty creative opener, pretty deceptive, very much hinged on what happened in Game 2, only this time he found his own success with it.
Yeah, I want to see more games like this from JyJ. A more standard opener. I know it was a little bit tricky in the beginning, but just kind of open up, get into what you are good at. It's funny because I feel like I was lambasting Best for doing kind of the same thing over and over, but that's actually kind of what I want to see from JyJ here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go to Dark Origin. And when we see that, we're going to see if it's going to be tied up or if herO can maybe even take this 3-1 and take a lead. We'll be right back.
너도 탐세봐 탐세로.
드디어 카운트다운을 시작합니다.
4, 3, 2, 1.
떴다. 제로 칼로리로 기분까지 가볍게. 밀키스 제로.
Welcome back, everybody. The ASL continues on, and we have ourselves a series. It's 2-1 right now. herO's in the lead, but JyJ looks like he's actually resting right now. It is a marathon to do a best of 7 in Brood War, especially when the stakes are this high. He's started the game of coming back here. herO is still looking strong. I'm really happy to see that JyJ won in the style we expected, but with an opening that really showed that he's thinking out how to play a series this big.
Yeah, he's certainly adding some different qualities into the openers, trying to mask what he's doing a little bit. Definitely don't want to see him get too fancy here. herO there, I think just a slight bit too greedy. You see a lot of losses from Zergs like that, where they're like, yeah, no, it'll be ready in time, and then Terran will just nail the timing with those 1-1 upgrades, and that's exactly what we saw. So we'll see if he can do a bit better. We're going to go to Dark Origin. Dark Origin has definitely shown us some really interesting games with utilizing those bridges and everything. I gotta wonder, what is JyJ going to open with, though? We've seen a lot of tech openings, which I don't think have worked well in Dark Origin.
Let's go to Dark Origin. This map is named after the cheese that drove Tastosis mad and caused him to rage on his stream this very day. This is named after the DT that killed that turret that never finished. That made Tastosis the insane person he still is now.
All right, top left, we have herO. And the bottom right, we have JyJ.
All right, guys. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I got to say thank you to everyone for supporting on the Patreon. This season has been amazing, continues to be amazing. I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the series. But if you would like to support the English ASL cast, please check out patreon.com/ASL English.
Yes, please sign up for a year if you would. There is another season of ASL coming, but this is the best way to support us keeping the history of the modern Star Leagues alive while we fill you in with the Star Leagues that were there before there was any English casting for them, before we had moved over to Korea to try to work on them. We really appreciate your support, and this is the way things are now. It's all about crowdfunding here, with the state that Blizzard's in and the fact that Korea has already been crowdfunding everything for a long time. We're asking the foreign scene to do the same. On into this game, we got a barracks in the middle of the map.
Yeah, quick 8 racks. We did see the map score, by the way, which is 7-1 in Zerg's favor. I actually don't think that's completely accurate, like to the actual balance of the map. Like it does not. This doesn't feel like a 7-1 win ratio for Zerg. I think that that's something that over time could balance out well. But yeah, this particular type of 8 racks, we will see behind this a gas, and JyJ will go into a factory. So it is going to be a teched out build. In fact, he'll probably go Starport before his expansion as well. And that is a hatchery first from herO. So best case scenario so far for JyJ.
So this is he's gonna see that SCV, and you know that's gonna raise some eyebrows when you see an SCV come from that side. The bridge is actually, or bridges I should say, is to the right of that. Yeah, I agree with you, Tastosis. I don't feel like this map is inherently Zerg favored at all. No. He doesn't get to confirm that the barracks is there, but I think you know, right?
Yes,
do you just want to bum rush the Overlord in this moment?
No, you can't quite kill it, I don't think. It looks to me like, well, yeah, I don't think he could have caught it. Honestly, with the SCV seeing the Overlord, like, you're right, he should know basically what's going on. I don't see much of a reaction, though. He's not keeping anything on top of that SCV. I'm confused. Like, I feel like this would be the optimal time to be chasing the SCV and dealing damage to it. You know what I mean? Like, with the drone. And he hasn't done that at all. Okay, he brings the drones down now. This one Overlord taking a lot of damage. Now, this type of build, you can't really make a bunker right away with this because you have to afford your factory quickly. And look at this. He already got a drone. Oh, the Overlord does make it out. 2 drones are gone. 3 drones are gone.
What is happening right now?
4.
Okay, he did a little bit of distributional mismatching there. He kind of damaged a drone and then switched on to another one. But he got 4 drones total. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's huge
that's a
damage.
lot.
That's huge.
That's actually more than you can really say is acceptable.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's dead, but, I mean, this is pretty bad. The SCV is going to loop back around here. And, you know, the barracks is back in the air. The Vulture's going to come out. A Vulture can kill endless slow Zerglings. Like, they can't really do anything to it. So I would say this is a pretty good start here for JyJ.
It's a great start. Like, he is way ahead right now. And herO gets in and sees the starport. He does get an SCV, so, like, that's something at least. But again, this is a big advantage without any doubt for JyJ. Where does herO go from here? These types of games get very tricky as Zerg. Your drone count is very low. You know a Wraith is coming. You have Overlords out on the map. Like, what? How do you fight back against this? Right? Like, do you get a Hydralisk Den? You don't really have the economy.
Yeah, well, losing that many drones, it hurts so much. By the way, if I could just go big picture for a second. It's kind of funny, Tastosis. It actually feels like this build that JyJ is doing, going for, you know, a 1-1-1 to start things off. This is apparently his core build. Right now, it doesn't look like it's really fast expand builds at all. I think he's kind of misled us and herO as well. He seems to really, in this whole series, want to just basically get 1 racks out of Vulture, get a command center out quickly, and a starport. Although it's in slightly different orders.
Yeah. Well, that is how he's been playing. He did it a lot against Sulky, too. And, you know, we'll see if it continues to work out for him. It is important for him to be a little bit unpredictable and everything.
Sure.
But, you know, the Wraith right now hunting for that Overlord. I think he will end up finding it. Very good movement of the Wraith. Oh, might just miss it.
Oh,
what
that's
a
too
save
bad.
from herO.
You know, as a Zerg, you kind of expect them to kill that Overlord. Like, you send it in maybe the best hiding place you think you can find. We should note, Wraiths don't have great vision. It's actually a lot worse than a lot of the other units in the game. But yeah, it especially compared to the Overlord. The Overlord's vision is the best it can be. I think it has vision 9.
That's crazy.
And however that metric works for ranking the sight vision in the game, it's got really good vision. And so it's not going to find that. But from the Zerg's perspective, you do anticipate losing that Overlord. If you don't, it's a freebie.
Yeah. That's just a super bonus that he got to keep it. But he needs a bonus like that, too, don't forget, right? It was a rough opener, losing 4 drones.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something that can bring back a bit of the parity, because certainly I look at this game, it is JyJ favored at this point still. And, he will end up finding that Overlord. So good job there by JyJ.
Yeah, big catch. Nicely done. We've got the Ling being chased back. I think herO's done a really good job basically playing defense over here. We have 6 mutas coming. There's 3 Hydras out. He's going to fan those out across the 3 bridges, actually, and move them southbound. We have turrets coming up, and this is going to be a rush into Irradiate. It is a build where you don't really need a tank. You probably won't until there's going to be, lurkers, or maybe you can skip the tank entirely. I mean, what do you think, Tastosis?
Yeah, a lot of times what will happen is you go into 3 barracks from here and then possibly add a couple tanks for your initial push, because generally they will go into lurkers because you have Irradiate so quickly. So probably after he adds the barracks, we'll see him try to get up into siege tanks. But herO is down here, and I'm not sure what he'll get done. I feel like the turret coverage is pretty decent so far, and that first Irradiate is only about 10 seconds out.
He's sending 3 Overlords. Actually, he's sending more than even that. Is he going to drop? Is he going to make lurkers and maybe drop, knowing there's no tank?
That would be wild.
Because this is all of his Overlords.
Huh.
Like, if you look on the minimap, we see a lot of slow big vision units moving down.
Well, the bunker defense is incredibly important here. You're really low on units, so it's a very technical defense with a lot of defensive structures. But I guess if you just go around that, yeah, maybe that is the play. Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh! Okay, he does end up getting it at least. I don't know about these Overlord stasis. I don't think it's a drop. That feels so weird.
Why are there so many coming right now?
Maybe it's just a rally point?
No, he had these are Overlords that were not moving before.
Oh.
I feel like I'm not the TVZ expert, but I don't feel like we see this sort of movement. It's this mass migration to the south.
Yeah.
The Overlords are going right up to the front. Now I feel like, he's not even hiding it. And remember that, if infantry come out and could kill this, they just get right under it and do so.
Dude, what am I looking at here? This is crazy.
What is happening? Now,
the Hydras run in there for some reason. The Overlords continue to fly into the main base. Why are the Overlords flying into the main base, Tasteless? What am I looking at here?
I don't get it. Well, I felt like we were going to see some kind of cool secret, but then he just parks them up here. This doesn't even make any sense now. The Overlords are almost in range of the turrets.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to start to turn them around. The 4 Overlords going to exit. There are a few Lings coming across. Don't forget, herO has gotten a 3rd base up. He's just starting mining there. JyJ going to re-wall. He has to remake his science facility, which is kind of gross. And trying to make some barracks here as well. And Irradiate goes down. It's too bad he lost that 1 vessel, because an additional Irradiate here and the mutas are almost done.
I guess it was a mistake. Sorry for highlighting this, everybody. I really thought that meant something, but yeah, he just has a bunch of Overlords.
Oh my god.
Kind of inexplicably out here. He is going to get another vessel. This is not without trading out a lot of mutas. These are very low HP mutas. He's going to be careful. There are several of these mutas that can be 1 or 2 shot down from turrets.
Yeah. And I'm surprised he lost another vessel there. It's like, normally in this situation, it's all about that vessel retention. Imagine if you have 3 vessels right now.
Oh, you know what I think?
What?
I think he thought this might have been cloaked wraiths, and he wanted to have Overlords outside the front in case that's what happened.
Oh,
he
it's
would just
possible.
Be able to overpower them.
Actually,
that makes more sense
a common,
for the Overlords.
That's a common 1-1-1 defense against 2-hatch muta, is to go 3 cloaked wraiths. And obviously he went cloaked wraiths against Sulky, so maybe you're right. Maybe he thought that it would be some sort of wraith play, and that's why the Overlords all made their giant migration across the map for no reason. But obviously, as we can see, being the science vessels not really useful at all. Picking off the 2 science vessels, I think, has made this a real game for herO, JyJ certainly has been stifled. He certainly has been slowed down. He's adding a ton of barracks here, so he wants some revenge.
Looks like we're going to have another Irradiate come out. One of these should have the energy. There is an art, by the way, to trying to irradiate the right Mutalisk, especially if they're all at full HP. I remember my brother and me talking about this when we would mess around with Terran. It was like, it feels like you want to maybe try to click on the bottom of the group at times. Or sometimes, you know, on the very, very top right, I guess depending on how bunched up they are. You're basically trying to get the Muta that's underneath the stacking of the image of the Mutalisks.
Yeah, you don't
because
want
then it's harder for them to flick it. Yeah, if it's on top, if the whole group is actually, you just see a big green set of smoke, then that means it's the one that's on top. So you click in the center and you can flick it out. But if it's underneath, they have to start to try to flick them apart.
Yeah, there is a bit of an art form to it. You get better and better as a Terran trying to get the middle one. Now, the push out has begun. JyJ has a lot of barracks here. He has 3 siege tanks and 3 vessels. This is a push that could end up ending the game. The Hive is not super fast, and if he can get kind of a direct push and herO doesn't slow him down at all, you might get the 3rd base.
Yeah, it's a really good spot to push from, too. You know, there isn't an easy 3rd base for the Zerg, especially not with a push like this. Like 3 tanks. Oh, doesn't connect.
That's crazy. He actually irradiated. He was trying to irradiate the center of the pack. I think he got a Scourge. But doesn't lose any vessels. That's the important part there. Holsey's back. Is going to lose yet another vessel. But his position here on the high ground, I don't know that you can save this hatchery.
Yeah, I don't like this, man. The Lurkers are going to come forward. There's so much here. He does get that vessel. Can he just kind of get in range of these tanks? I mean, he's sort of doing it, right?
Oof.
Oh, no. Maybe not. Maybe there's just actually enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think that JyJ might be able to take this game. We got more Lings and Lurkers coming here, but this is looking pretty bad.
This is way too efficient for JyJ. What a beautiful position to try to take out this base. With those few Lurkers that remain are getting absolutely blasted by these siege tanks. Takes them out. The hatchery going to fall as well, and it looks like JyJ is going to be able to tie up this series.
Yeah, what an incredible game. I got to say, JyJ really inspirational play. Coming out here and just doing such a great push. And we talked about this before with him. I mean, he's actually just pushing and killing Zergs before Defiler, which is pretty rare. Like, we have a lot of games that are close, but when you see these Terrans, they could just come out there and get that finishing blow-off. It's so cool.
It was a really great push timing there. The 1-1-1 this time, very, very effective. It felt like herO was battling back reasonably well, but that spot, now I'm starting to understand why Terrans keep trying to 1-1-1 here. That spot to kill the 3rd base looks deadly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's a very kind of vulnerable 3rd base spot. This is almost like Eclipse for Zerg, like when you see how strong pushes like this can be. GG. Oh, man, this kicks ass. It's 2-2. We have no idea who's going to take this. The back and forth has started. JyJ has recovered, and we have at least 2 to 3 more maps left as this TVZ just keeps heating up.
Yeah, really, really nice play there overall. There were certainly some mistakes, though, right? Like a kind of a sloppy defense from herO, even though he saw the SCV come from a funny angle. Maybe he didn't see it? That's the only thing I can think, because when you pointed that out, it's like, yeah, that's not where the bridges are. And you don't scout for things against Zerg early, you know? It's not like you're scouting for a proxy gaze. So maybe not the best defense from herO. He did snap a couple vessels really quickly, which was good. But JyJ's push was immaculate. Like that, I mean, how do you stop that?
I don't know. You know, this is a funny map, Dark Origin. The more we look at it, it's interesting to see these intense vulnerabilities in mid-game, in multiple matchups. Like, it's a very fascinating map to see. When someone kind of has an opening, whether it's a push or a contain, man, is it hard to deal with. JyJ is tied up 2-2. This will lead us up into map 5 as the best of 7 continues on. Remember, not a best of 5, a best of 7. So we've got plenty more games to come. And I want to see what exactly herO's going to do. I think herO showed a strong start. I think JyJ is really Like, is he going to keep doing this quick factory play into vultures? Is he going to go back to expanding? He did open up with an 8 racks there, and he actually got a lot of kills on the drones. That does ripple through the rest of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, great TVZ so far. I'm having a lot of fun. We're going to go to Nemesis now for map number 5.
All right, well, Nemesis can be harder in longer games for Zerg since those kind of pocket expansions don't have that much gas at them. So, not sure how this is going to open really on either side. I could see JyJ teching it out or playing a very standard game.
I forgot we have map 76 for game 7. If we get
I
that
hope
far.
we make it, man. I hope we make it.
I was so
there.
focused on the start that I mean, that would be a great way to end it. Anyways, guys, we're now moving in to map number 5. No commercial break this time around. This herO versus JyJ continues on to find out who will take the lead. We're tied up 2-2.
All right, top left, we have herO. And the bottom left, we have JyJ. Oh my God, Tastosis, it's a 4-pull.
Go back. Go back.
Go back!
Go back! Why are we looking at him? Who cares about his face? He's got a mask on anyways.
Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So what he's looking for here, like a forward 8 racks, this can, or a BBS or something, this can kill. But like specifically, he's looking for JyJ to wall. Now you can see this is from the ASL map data, Terran favored. I actually kind of agree with that. I think that this is a pretty good map for Terran versus Zerg, just because it's hard for Zerg to get those additional gases up. So, yeah, maybe not a bad choice. And look, there's the wall. There is the wall. If you don't wall and you're playing against 4-pool, you basically just win. But the 4-pool against the wall is very 4-pool favored. Now, people can hold. It's possible, especially if you scout him first. But it's very hard. It's very messy. I think herO's going to take this really quickly.
Yeah. No, this should be pretty short. So the 4-pool does actually get the Lings out faster than the 5-pool or the 7-pool. It's by only a few seconds, in case you're wondering. It's one of the reasons why 5-pool and 7-pool have had a little bit more attention, especially if you play on ladder, at least in my experience on ladder. Maybe that's because I'm not Terran, I don't know. I mean, do you find 4-pool more common Artosis than 5 or 7?
I almost never hit other pools. It's very rare. 4-pool is way more common.
No. All right, see, I'm talking out of school here. I don't know. But this is, in fact, the fastest.
You actually see them at 7-pool gets used a little bit at the pro level. We've seen a few times. But look at this. He gets down. He finds the SCV building part of the wall. Dude, he's like, I think JyJ is just going to die here.
Yeah, and the danger is that the Lings are going to get in here. They can basically kill the Marine as it comes out. And there's really like nothing you can do about it. He sees the Lings here. The Lings can destroy the barracks. The drone and the SCV are both so low. Okay, so he's pulled the SCVs. Let's see if he can try to control this. He does the extractor trick to gain hit points on the drone. It does get full HP after the cancellation of that. More Lings are coming down. It seems like the splitting is pretty good. A lot of very injured SCVs here. Now remember, there's only, 3 drones back at home mining.
Superb micro.
Dude, he's boxed him in over here.
Yeah, JyJ's micro here has been out of control. It's been so strong. And now with 2 Marines out, how many SCVs does he have mining? So he has 1 mining in the main.
There's just 1.
Yeah.
Hold on, this game might even go on.
Yeah, there is a real possibility there. So it's 5 SCVs, but how many drones do we have? Is it only 3 drones still? I believe it is.
I think it's only 3 drones, because the 4th drone that was made as the pool is made, scouts, and that's been killed.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, we're going to go on in this game.
And he's made more Lings. So the 2 Lings up here are waiting for their moment, but JyJ is going to hunt them down. This is craziness.
2 Marines can be 2 weaker Lings with micro.
Oh my God!
Hold on.
You know what? Tasteless. herO wins anyways.
He needed 1 SCV to repair.
That is so
He probably
funny.
just needed 1 to repair. Hold on, he's still micro. He needs. Oh no! There's no turning back.
That's wild.
Oh wow!
Oh my God. So I think he expected for the Ling production to stop and for herO to go back into drones, because once the wall is up, you should lose. Look, JyJ disappeared, man. He was like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I know the feeling, Tasteless.
Oh my God. No, you're right. You're 100% right. He thought that he started droning up because it looked like the game was going to go on. I thought this was going to be like a 15-minute game, but he just didn't stop making Lings, and then he used the 2 Lings to draw away the Marines. There was no SCV to repair. He should have left 1 SCV to repair. It was too greedy. Something like 7 or 8 Lings came down, hit the depot, cracked it open. I think maybe even supply blocked the Terran, depending on how many SCVs were in the game at that moment. But either way, there's nothing else you can do. The SCVs that were waiting inside the main had already been damaged during the rush. herO takes that game, and now he's up 3-2.
Dude, that's amazing. Really, the 2 Lings in the main base won the game, because you can't send 1 Marine after them, and if you don't send anything after them, they wreck your SCVs. SCVs can't fight against 2 Lings that are well microed. So, yeah, that was super, super clutch, because the micro during the actual engagement was amazing for JyJ, but now herO is up 3-2. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, map number 6.
너도 탐세봐 탐세로.
드디어 카운트다운을 시작합니다.
4, 3, 2, 1.
떴다. 제로 칼로리로 기분까지 가볍게. 밀키스 제로.
Welcome back, everybody. ASL continues on. What a crazy game. You gotta love a game like that, especially when the stakes are so high. And what an ending to that. It looked like Terran was gonna hold, but then Zerg just committed to Zerglings and basically did the all-in of all-ins. He went for a tactical victory over trying to play a drawn-out game where both sides are crippled and both sides are bleeding out. And they're trying to recover into a game that would have relied off instinct and probably been exhausting for both. herO elects to go for a tactic, and it works. There was no SCV there to repair the wall because JyJ assumed that drones were being made back at home, and therefore he needs to get as many SCVs mining as possible. If there was an SCV there, it would repair the wall probably in enough time to stop the Lings from destroying it, I think. I don't know the exact math on Ling damage versus SCV repairs. Do you, Artosis?
It would have bought enough time to get his other 2 Marines in his main base into position and also get 1 more Marine out. So much better chance of holding if he had 1 SCV at the wall. The depot still would have broke, but let's go into game number 6 here. Retro is our map. Can JyJ tie it up? We're about to see. All right, so we have herO in the top left, and in the top right we have JyJ. Such an important game here for JyJ. Can he bring us to that final map? It's wild to think that if he does win this, we have to go to 76 to decide it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, 76, man. I mean, what an ending, too, because it cannot look like any of the games that we've had so far. props to herO here. You know, he went for the 4-pull. He had a read, and I think you don't want to play a long game on that map generally. It's a real strain, but he also knew it's very tempting for Terran to go for a quick wall-in. So the 4-pull was the play. He got in there, and he did it. And this has been just a fantastic best of 7 so far.
It has. It has. It definitely very back and forth at this point. Another walling going down. Unfortunately for herO, no 4-pull this time.
It's so fun how Korean audiences have so much more personality. When we were growing up culturally in Korea, people would just hide their faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of people doing crazy stuff. The culture's become much more expressive.
Yeah.
It's more open to people being self-expressive, I guess you could say.
Certainly, that is something that we have seen.
It's at least on TV. It's not like Koreans don't have personalities off camera, but you know, seeing people like actually kind of behave so much more differently on camera from 25 years ago, literally 24, 25 years ago when this was first put on TV.
That's been a while. Damn, that's kind of crazy to think about. Now, this is going to be a command center first. So after getting 4-pulled on Nemesis, he's like, you know what? Command center first. And it's obviously going to get off without a hitch. That is a hatchery first from herO. So this is like command center first with a Zergling tight wall in is like the best build in this matchup. There is not something better. Well, I guess if you go BBS and they go, you know, hatchery first, that's better, but only because you instantly win. But yeah, this is like absolutely amazing for JyJ. He's going to be very happy with this situation. And, you know, as herO gets there, he's going to realize, oh, playing from, you know, a little bit of a deficit. And we'll have to see how he wants to try to fight back from that.
Yeah. You know, the range attack from the drone can be a little bit annoying because the drone can technically hit the SCV. Even though the SCV's attack, I think, counts as ranged, it's like it got less range than the range of the drone. I think the range in the drone is 1 and the SCV's is 0. Or some property that's not 0, but like in between 1 and 0.
The SCV has less range than a Zergling.
Yeah. No, I think it's actually that the SCV's hitbox is bigger than its attack box or something like that.
No. The actual range of the attack, only the Broodling has less range than the SCV. Because like even melee attacks have a range to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's hilariously short though. You got to really get right next to something to attack.
No, it has to like basically like chest bump the unit to hit it. Anyways, kudos to JyJ opening up with a super risky play, basically the opposite of the 4-pull. By the way, if this was another 4-pull, we'd have a very different game because there'd be no way that JyJ could hold. I mean, in last game, he had miracle play. It was so good, and he barely did it, but he would have just died even outright if this was a 4-pull. But he did what we call sometimes economic cheese, which is like you just get the command center out right away. You want to get the resources. You want to play it out. And I think he's in good shape for now. It doesn't mean that herO's going to lose. There's ways to play this from behind, but you know, these are the risks that are involved in RTS. When you have a game of imperfect information, you have a couple different ways you can open up. And, you know, I think it's why we've seen so many, especially in the early days, good StarCraft players switch over to poker and have great success because I think a lot of the way that you try to play a hand of poker can be kind of the way you try to play a build order in StarCraft before you scout him, and then a little bit even after you scout him.
Yeah, a lot of people like to equate StarCraft to chess, but it is probably closer to poker, to be honest. You know, there is a lot of strategy and everything in it, but like, there's the lack of information makes it incredibly different from chess. And I mean, you can see that here. Ooh, a Zergling pops in. Nice move from herO. But he's going to scout exactly what you expect. When it's command center first, it's always like either eBay or Academy. He knew it was Academy because of the medics, and obviously the eBay is upgrading very quickly because you just have such an economic edge.
Yeah, I mean, so he just knows it's going to be a normal game. He does do the last-second stim. We've seen this from JyJ a couple times before. It seems like herO and all the other Zergs, by the way, this season have made the adjustment to just not die to this. But yeah, you know, it does seem like with the incomplete information. It really is about trying to play a hand or a build order, so to speak. I think there are chess elements to the game, certainly when it comes to controlling the map and trying to secure expansions and positioning, you know, your army on the map. And then there's the mechanical part of the game that neither chess or poker have, which is your macro, building stuff, trying to control groups of units, you know, microing a reaver.
Chess.
There's so much to the game.
It's chess and poker and piano all at once, basically.
And kung fu, but you don't get hurt.
And kung fu.
Yes.
And also torture. It's there's also a lot. There's a pain element involved.
Yes, and also waterboarding. It's all these things.
Yes. Now, the mutas are coming in, but pretty well defended so far. He's got the bunker there at those depots. Some good turrets have gone up. He's on 3 barracks production. The factory is already started here for JyJ. So, yeah, I'm digging this. Like, very good turret layout in the main base as well as he flies in. Yeah, it takes a lot of missile turret hits. And
I like the layout a lot. It's kind of like a big fisherman's net for the mutas when they try to get in there. They're getting hit from all sides. It's really good. Sorry, Artosis, what were you saying?
No, it's just it's really beautiful to see that good turret placement just force those mutas right out. And now JyJ gets to be on the map a little bit. But remember, we saw this previously on Vermeer as well, right? Where it's like, okay, you're out with this big force of bio, but herO's going to do his best to knock it out. You'll probably see him fly onto the other side to stop reinforcements soon. But notice how JyJ is walking back. He's being really careful not to allow that this time.
More mutas are coming. He's got to be careful. He wants to have a presence on the map, but he doesn't want to just leave these out there to get killed. We know herO's very good at coming in there and doing that. And so he's going to try to come in once more. He's really not making a dent at all in the Terran space. This shows you what happens when you go Command Center first. Look at how much he has.
Yeah.
Think of all the games we see the Zerg just rag on the Terran. And you know, Marines are dropped constantly. And now we have a Zerg that's only just now starting to do damage while the push is already inbound on the middle of the map. Double starport coming up here as well.
Now, his life is on the line with this little move out of this bio. Like, he's forced the mutas out of his base after losing all his turrets by moving forward. But look at the amount of Marines and mutas that herO has. This is very scary for JyJ. herO absolutely has enough to kill this force.
So he's coming out. Oh, the Lings are at a pretty bad angle, actually. These medics are, like, getting in the way almost beautifully. It seems like they're going to be able to spill through no matter what.
He does pick off several Mutalisks, so that's at least something that works out for him.
Sure.
There's plenty of units here. He can't really do any sort of counterattack, even though he checks on it. A couple of Valkyries are on the way, so JyJ going to control the air now, at least.
So we've got some drones being transferred over here. Terran's still in a pretty good shape. It's been a little bit of a back and forth here in the middle of the map. The double Valkyries are out, which means these mutas can't really be in this game for too much longer. Note, he's not getting 4 Valkyries. He stopped making another 2, and instead he's getting ready to save his gas up and use this for vessels. So he wants to get the bare minimum, and I think it's smart. I think if he makes 4 Valkyries, then the Lurkers are just going to be stronger later on.
Yeah, the 2 are going to be more than enough to push back these Mutalisks. He does force them back for now. It is really all about that Lurker play now for herO. He's got to get some Lurkers out into position, guarding that third base, making sure his natural can't be busted. And then we can get into one of those big macro games that JyJ likes so much.
Important to note that this base that's over here at 9 o'clock, it's kind of funny. It's got 2 ramps, which isn't ideal for Zerg, but it's not exactly great for Terran to push up either. There's no Lurker eggs here. Oh my god. Artosis.
Ooh,
is he just going to kill this base? It seems like he just didn't quite have everything up in time. There's 1 Lurker, but he didn't see it burrow. He didn't have his screen over. He lost a good bulk of his infantry there, too.
Yeah, and that's a stack of 2 Lurkers, so that was a huge set of spines. If he had been 100% on top of that, I think he would have busted this base, and the game would basically be his at this point. But now he backs up. In fact, there was a Lurker trap waiting for him, but he happened to not walk over it.
Yeah, the Lurker was underneath the hatchery. How funny. And he did have hold position Lurkers, as you said, Artosis. Double vessels are coming out. He's now using the Valkyries to basically clean up the Overlords. This is a great way to try to get some value out. He has 2 vessels out already. 4 are going to be in the mix very soon.
The Lings and Mutas still roaming the map a bit.
Double dropship.
Finding the dropships is actually really, really good. He actually trades out the Lings reasonably well also, but just scouting the fact that there are 2 dropships out will mostly prevent any damage that they can deal. He's going to be very on top of looking for that.
Lurkers are coming now. A burrow over here in the middle of the map. And, oh, that's funny. He just turns the Valkyries right on there. I guess he realizes he wants to get the drop in here. It's better to tank the Scourge hits onto the Valkyrie and then just try to do what he can here with these 2 dropships. Does he actually have enough? He does have probably defensive matrix available right now.
Yeah, maybe Irradiate as well if he sees the Defiler pop up the ramp. Having a hard time unloading. I think he didn't have much in that second dropship, unfortunately. Going after the Defiler Mound does throw down that defense matrix. Radiates as well. Oh my god, I think he's going to get the Defiler Mound.
I think so. Well, it's at 400 HP.
Maybe not.
There's a lot coming back. Yeah, maybe not, actually. And he's going to drop a Vessel here. I basically think he's trying to get whatever he can get. He does get the Lurker. The Scourge are pursuing that dropship or a Science Vessel, depending. It's almost at 100 energy. There's almost time for a Cloud to come down here.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Lurker pushes.
This is really deadly as well, getting those Lurkers right up onto the rally point. But the Marines continue to deal massive damage in the main base. Amazing, amazing play right there. But he's got to clear those Lurkers that are in front, man.
Yeah, it looks like the threat of the Marines is finally gone. There's just nothing with any energy Artosis. If he gets the Defilers over here and gets 1 Cloud up, maybe 2. Oh, God, they're so close. Do they have the energy inside? I guess we're not going to find out. He's going to try to ring around this, and I guess he sees that there's a little bit of a place underneath. He can try to come in here and do some additional Lurker damage in a miracle play. Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
He actually beats the Lurkers back and forces the Dark Swarm a little bit further back. If that Dark Swarm was over the command center, oh, and this is some big balls plays. Just making a command center down there, I can't even believe it.
Dude, it's crazy. Yeah, this is a very scary moment since he has these Lurkers kind of pushing forward. If JyJ can break out of here, though, he has a lot of supply right now. He has a lot of bio, a lot of vessels. He just needs to gain map control.
Okay, another Lurker Cloud. Sorry, it's Lurker Cloud. It might as well be a Lurker Cloud. A Dark Swarm comes down. Many more Lurkers are coming here. This could be almost the end of the line here for JyJ. All he needs to do is get Lurkers burrowed in where that command center is, destroying the bunker, or even get Lurkers up inside the main. Oh, look at the micro here. So good. But it seems like maybe herO's being a little bit too greedy. He's pushing the Lurkers past the Cloud. We now have the infantry actually looping all the way around here, and I don't think that herO has any idea.
Dude, if we had a Defiler here, this might end up working, but this rotation from JyJ is going to be really punishing for herO. herO continues to rally up. Oh my god, the Overlord's getting caught in the center of the map. herO just trying to push with like pure Lurker Ling up the front, and JyJ going to come around and cut off reinforcements.
Yeah, the Lurkers are trying their best to defend from both sides, but now that there's a set of infantry loose on the map, he can start to rain down irradiates onto these. There's no, there's no Defiler that I can see right now that's over here. So this means that he's basically cut off the reinforcements. So the Lurkers are stuck over here. And that means, oh, that's it. herO taps out. He knows that it's a matter of time before the vessels irradiate the rest of that. JyJ wins. Bro, Artosis.
Dude. This
my guy, guys, girls, everyone, we're going to go to Game 7.
This is kind of insane. Like, I can't believe
so fun.
What we're looking at here. We are finally making it to game number 7. 76 will be played. We haven't seen that many Terran Berserks here. Can't wait to see what they want to end up opening with. But this will, like, to go to 76 to decide who goes to the ASL Finals feels a bit absurd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care who moves on at this point in time. This has been such a great series. JyJ really manages to outmaneuver herO back there. And I'm kind of surprised we're going to look at this moment. I guess this goes to show how incredible it is that JyJ still won. Because I thought when this dropped, was beaten, that this game was probably going to end. Especially when it looks like the dropship on the left, it didn't seem to unload.
I think he only had one medic in it, is what happened.
I mean, maybe you're right. Yeah, that could definitely be the case. But I thought that when we saw this coming in here, that this was going to be curtains here for JyJ, especially with the lurker front out at the entrance. But it seems like he was a little bit too cavalier with the lurkers.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to catch the second part of this, but I think the big victory play was really when the infantry at the entrance went underneath the lurker contain at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hey,
right
well,
here. When he go ahead.
Just breaking out of here before the Defiler got its Dark Storms up. Like, if his Defiler got in there 5 seconds earlier, I think probably herO is in the ASL Finals right now. But, you know,
look at that sign. That sign's been through some love right there.
She is really rooting, man. Like, okay, so... yeah, that was a clutch hold there from JyJ, stopping that all-in lurker bush. I don't know what to think about this final map, though, Tasteless. Like, is 76? I feel like anything could happen. We're going to go to a quick commercial break and then figure out who's going to be in the finals.
너도 탐세봐 탐세로.
드디어 카운트다운을 시작합니다.
4, 3, 2, 1.
떴다. 제로 칼로리로 기분까지 가볍게. 밀키스 제로.
Welcome back. It's time for the final match of this. Sorry, final round. Excuse me. I'm so excited. I'm like tripping over myself. I just want to make this sound as good as these games are. We're going to have one more game, and one of these two players is going to move on to the finals. Mind awaits the victor between JyJ and herO.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is going to be just insane. 76, our wild map. It's given us a ton of great games. And now everything on the line. They must show their absolute best play here. Probably both of them were thinking, well, it's map 7. We might not even get to it. So who knows how much they've actually prepped for this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. This map feels like it would take a long time to really map stuff out and really know how to play late game on. We may have this be a pretty explosive short game. We really haven't had very long TVZs on this map, by the way. We've had a couple games that end around, I guess we could say, mid-game. I know different maps have different, places that they are in mid-game, but yeah, this game just can't look like the other games because this map functions so differently.
Well, we'll see what they have planned. It's a crazy one. It could be some sort of cheesy all-in. Could just be a big macro game. We will see one of these players going to the finals. Let's get it going.
Just getting started.
All right, we have herO at the top left.
It's like, Dan, I can't hear you. What are you saying?
JyJ at the bottom left. I had this thought that, like, imagine if you're like a noob and like you start in this map and you tell your workers to mine from the other mineral patches, like the regular ones. You're like, what the hell is that? That's weird. You'd be so far behind.
We're putting one more plug into the Patreon here before we do this final match. This is going to be a great finals. Your support is appreciated. ASL ain't going anywhere. This is a huge show in Korea, and that means that we can continue to do the English support for it as long as you guys continue to support us. So please go to patreon.com/ASL English. Sign up for a year. It would mean the world to us, and it helps us keep introducing new people to StarCraft every year, which is exactly what this show does.
Thank you very much, everybody. Here's to many more ASLs in the future. Now, looking at this game, Tasteless, one thing about 76, Zerg literally has to expand at the beginning, like right away. It doesn't make sense not to because there's a double gas there, and otherwise getting a gas is incredibly hard for them. So JyJ has chosen to do a forward 8 racks play. And, like, obviously he's playing against a hatchery first. Everything is kind of sped up here. But you do have to go up, like, a little tiny ramp. So I'm not... I don't know exactly what this is going to look like. There's a gas coming up, so maybe a Vulture follow-up, but, like, the Vulture doesn't do anything here.
We did see a player try to glitch a Vulture up the ramp. I think it was actually mined.
Yeah.
Which means you can do it. Some glitches are way harder than others. I don't know that that's what's going to happen here. We haven't seen the factory start, although there is an SCV on the low ground, so it could do that.
Well, I think for sure we'll see a factory. Maybe it'll be like a 2-port Wraith build. Not entirely sure yet, but the rush is about to commence. He hasn't seen the Marines, I don't believe, right? So I think the Overlord flight path hasn't really seen it yet. He is staying on top of that one SCV. Okay, now he sees the Marines.
So he sees the Marines coming. The factory is started out in the middle of the map. So this is wild. I think he wants to actually land the factory at the expansion.
I think you're right about that, Tasteless.
Oh, my God.
I think you're right about that. JyJ has some complex cheese that he is throwing down here for a trip to the finals.
And this is the most fortunate position for the Zerg to spawn in for the Terran, if that makes sense. He needs to get behind these. Oh, he needs to get these behind the minerals like they're zealots.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Tastosis.
He actually screwed it up a little bit. He could have had a better position there if his Marine hadn't walked in front of the mineral patches. He does kill the Lings, keeps the SCV alive. Let's see if Phase 2 of this cheese can do anything with the Vulture.
The thing is, if he can get underneath the factory... Is he going to lift it? Okay, he is. If he gets underneath the factory with even just a drone, then it can't land and you lose.
Yeah. Now, there's more to this. He's going 2-port Wraith behind this, which actually can go into a macro build. Let's see. He's coming over with the factory. He's trying to hide it as long as possible. Here comes the drone to block.
Okay, he's got the drone under there. It's very unlikely this is going to have the same potency if the factory can't land. Oh, block the Ling that's coming up the ramp.
Yeah, this is rough. Sometimes you can get the land off. It can be hard to keep this centered underneath.
Something tells me that herO is never going to let this touch the ground.
Yeah.
Ever. And keep in mind, this factory, this is also not making an add-on back at home. It's not making vultures. It's not getting value. He's just staying underneath it.
It's stopping one drone from mining. That's exactly what it's doing.
Yeah, that's the exact value it's getting. And honestly... I wonder if he should have been more careful with the Marines because that would have caused more of a distraction for the factory to land, you know?
Well, I think he couldn't wait too long to use the Marines because you only get 3, so, you know, he was trying to do something there. But yeah, you're quite right about that. Like there's nothing else that herO really needs to do right now. Now, 2 Wraiths are coming across the map. So maybe you just poke the drone out with these Wraiths and land it?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. Yeah, you can just shoo this away.
There is a Spire being made.
Start the Vulture! Okay, the Vulture was actually delayed. He's killing the drones now.
Yeah, the drone's running. Nowhere really to run to be fair. Now he is going to go after some more drones. He sees eggs. The Spire is there, so he's got to be careful with these Wraiths. He certainly does not have Cloak yet.
I'm surprised he's not moving the Vulture away from the sunk. I guess he just wants to try to kill as many workers as possible.
Yeah, killing all the workers here. Like, who is actually ahead, Tasteless? I'm not convinced that herO is really ahead here.
No, I think JyJ, after killing the workers, I think he's ahead. It didn't occur to me that this expansion's so close that Wraiths can get there so quickly.
Yeah. And look at this, the Scourge fly in. Ooh, he does get one connection. You can't be losing Wraiths to Scourge right now.
No, every Wraith is so precious right now because Wraiths die as fast as they kill things. And so the only way they're going to have any efficacy against these mutas is if they're in high numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The mutas are going to force the factory out. The factory is probably going to burn down or be killed in this game. He is still mining from 2 gases pretty steadily. We don't have a third base. We don't even have a third hatchery out just yet. In fact, there's an Evo chamber coming down here as he's probably a little bit concerned about Cloak.
Wow. That's really interesting that he's going to go into Spore here, because don't forget, he lost a lot of drones. So when you decide to do something like spend a drone on an Evolution Chamber and spend a drone on a Spore, that is not a decision to take lightly. You might look at it as a noob and be like, oh, well, I mean, you need anti-air because of Wraiths. And it's like, well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of drones that are gone, too.
He's got the Cloak going. There's no Overlord in sight. He's being very careful to not let that Spore start to spot his mutas. The Wraith count's continuing. The command center's being made on the low ground. One lone Zergling could kill that SCV, but I don't know that Zerg has any real chances to get over there and try to take that fight.
I imagine that Overlord speed is on the way, most likely, to allow these mutas to go and try some sort of attack. But JyJ actually has a solid economy. I know it opened with an 8 racks and everything, but he can make some turrets to back these up. And who knows? Like, I could see him even doing something like an armory here, right? Like, what if you add a Valkyrie into this mess?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. For some reason, whenever I see Wraiths start to make, I always forget you can make Valkyries.
Yeah.
After them. He's got a good amount of his Overlords hidden here. The muta count's building up, but I feel like, as the Wraith count continues to mass up, these mutas are not going to be that helpful, and these Wraiths can still do some great air-to-ground shots. Now, the factory's going to be killed off or burned down, either or. It will have to be remade. There's no way you can go through the rest of this game without a factory here. He's expanded onto the low ground. Now this low ground base doesn't have gas at it. That's important to remember. So not all expansions are created equally. And he won't be able to get a base over at that island location unless he gets an SCV over there. So he'd have to make a drop ship. That's not realistic right now in this arms race of Mutalisks versus Wraiths.
I think we're going to see a bunch of bio added in. There's going to be a ton of minerals here for JyJ. And don't forget, Marine Medic can walk up those tiny ramps. So that's actually kind of impactful, right? Like, he can make a bunch of Marines and Medics and just attack the main base of herO.
Exactly. He's spent so much getting these Wraiths, getting Cloak, getting turrets, but eventually this is going to fill in with a really healthy infantry army. herO has had to lean into the anti-air. Not that mutas can't fight ground, but these mutas are really also kind of forced out by the Wraiths in the game already. But, when the ground army comes into play, infantry comboed with Wraiths, they can beat the Mutalisks and the Scourge.
Oh,
especially
absolutely.
when we consider that the Wraiths can snipe down Overlords and probably outrun the mutas and the Scourge. So, I mean, this is becoming... I think pretty good for JyJ. I think it's a game that herO could still win. But right now I feel much more comfortable just looking at this from JyJ's position.
Definitely agree with that. I think that this is certainly favored towards JyJ right now, especially as he gets some real bio forces out there. herO's going to run in here, but he doesn't have an Overlord with him. So, okay, there is the Overlord, but there's a lot of turrets. I don't know how much he's really going to get done.
Yeah, this doesn't look good. He's basically not losing anything and breaking off huge chunks of what herO has made. And he's not really giving anything up for this. The only thing he gives up is Wraith energy, which of course does come back inevitably, you know.
Radiate is on the way. I don't know how he's affording all this off of one gas, man. Like, he's getting +1 stim range, Irradiate after 11 race with Cloak.
He probably has one medic or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, I guess so. Obviously, the Irradiate is going to be huge, huge, huge. Definitely doesn't want to lose that. He's even adding more turrets right now as he kind of figures out what's going on the map. Like, I mean, as long as he does not die, this game really does look good for JyJ. Look at this army he's starting to bring out. How do Mutas fight against this?
Well, we don't even have lurkers out, you know, which would be one way that he could try to fight this. I'm confused, too, because I feel like the Wraiths can almost take the Mutas on head-on. Okay, he got air armor Artosis, so I think he wants to try to just come in and clobber this, but I feel like JyJ's comp just counters this.
Yeah, especially with the Irradiate. Like, one Irradiate mixed into this, you wait for that Irradiate, like, you're going to cast that in the battle, because then the Mutas can't pull away, right? Like, you can't get the Muta out at that point. So this looks pretty bad. He is making Sunkens up his ramp. You know, 3 Sunkens will probably deter any attacks that could occur. So I think that that's a really good play. But now his Lings are going to find out that, uh-oh, JyJ has another main.
Yeah, and seeing this is going to really strike fear in the heart of herO here. Is now the Terran's already outgrowing you. Normally this happens when you're on 3 or 4 bases. Right now it's the Zerg on 2. A big Irradiate on there. Oh my god, Artosis, and he gets the Cloak. Oh. He's just going to keep moving, shotting these Mutas, and the Mutas are going to be on the run, but the Wraiths can catch up. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a lot of Wraiths. Dude, herO is looking dead here once again. This is going to be like his, I think, 7th round of 4 in ASL, something like that. Like, he's in round of 4 as much as he's not in ASL, which is an insane record. But if he falls here in Game 7 to JyJ, this was maybe his best chance to win an ASL yet.
I mean, no Flash in the picture, and you got to imagine Flash is probably going to be in the next ASL, right? And now he's chasing down. Oh my god, huge moment here. I think we're right in the twilight of this game. I don't think there's any way that Zerg can recover. Don't forget that there's no sunken colony line like a natural. There's just a few sunks on the high ground. Yes, it is a small ramp to get up. But, like, how does Zerg get a 3rd base? I guess he takes this island. Ugh.
Yeah, he's got that Overlord drop now, so it seems like that's an all-right choice. Overlord going to come in to help clean that up. He does have the Sunkens up his ramp, so it is hard to break in and kill him right now. It's just, JyJ is going to scale pretty darn nicely now that he has that other main base. He's got a lot of production going into battle cruisers. I think an absolutely great choice for this map between Yamato and just the pure power of the BC. He's going to have a good time with this.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's so funny. It seems so obvious now that we see it. It's like, oh, yeah, that's the way you take this game. You actually ramp up the air. It's not always about just trying to get tanks or making this look like another map. Yeah, get the battle cruisers, get Yamato, get a Terran fleet.
Well, his Wraiths are almost all gone. There is +1 armor, so he's going to need to get that +1 ship weapons to truly battle correctly with the battle cruisers. Still, a lot of Mutas are out. You know, I don't know. Well, I guess one thing we should say, Tasteless, is that additional base that herO just took, this is going to bring him up to 5 gases. 5 is a lot of gas.
Yeah, that is true. I also saw an Ultralisk Mound, which wasn't really something I was ready for. Yeah, let's see how this goes. There's going to be big Marine drops coming in. Zerg is still making Mutas. It makes me a little bit worried because, you know, eventually you have the composition that beats everything Muta-related. I think we're going to have a drop maybe up here at the Zerg's Natural. I guess anywhere that you can go that sunken colonies are not in high amounts is going to be totally acceptable. He's going to do this unload over here. We don't have the D-Matrix just yet. I guess we don't even really need it. Oh my god, another big win. He gets the Scourge.
Yeah, the Irradiate's going to be so key here. Look at that. The Irradiate right under the group. Oh, beautiful micro there from herO, though. Utilizes the Irradiated Mutalisks to deal more damage to that Bioforce. So he does clean that. It does damage to him. I think that was a good move from JyJ. And you might want to be a little bit more careful and make a bit more static D. I mean, a terrible situation for herO, but he is still alive.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's still in the game. We're going to get Scourge connecting onto dropships, too. So, I mean, there is a world where if JyJ stumbles a little bit more, he might lose this game. Are there more Scourge over here at this base?
It doesn't look that way. He brings in his mutas here once again. Another Irradiate goes down on them. One Sunken was made, but, well, he has a Nidus. Does he have the other end finished, though? Oh, no, Tasteless. I think herO is about to be eliminated. His supply dropping rapidly down to below 60. That is not looking good.
Yeah, I think this is looking very much over. I think we're going to have ourselves a TVT Finals, Tastosis. It looks like it's going to be JyJ versus Mind here. I mean, the Ultras are going to come down. Maybe he's going to be able to take out one. Let's see, can he get one Ultra? Depends on if he focus fires or not.
Yeah, he barely
Another drop comes in.
Barely has Carapace upgrades as well. The Scourge end up catching one of the dropships. Oh, some Ultras are here. So, like, okay, he will clean that up, and he saves the hatchery, but he lost a lot of drones. Maybe we're calling it too early. Maybe herO can fight back still. You know, it's not like we have battle cruisers yet. This is basically mass dropship play right now. And as you get your Ultras out, as you get a bit of static D, it doesn't work as much anymore.
This is, it's one way that Terran could basically throw this game is if you just start to feed into these bases. Zerg is basically not making mutas anymore. We have Nidus set up. We have drops set up as well. JyJ, there is this massive excess of minerals, by the way. He is expanding over here towards the, I guess you call it the island natural, to the bottom right base. Zerg, I guess, can play this game of keep away on these islands. I don't see any way that Zerg comes out and kills the Terran right now.
Yeah.
It's one thing for Zerg to turtle on islands, but this game is a lot more than just a couple of islands. This game is really more land than island, at least for moving around the map. And even if you were to try to get the two islands in the middle, I just don't. I think if Zerg takes that, the Terran can siege up and shell that. So I think the Zerg has figured out a way to stay alive. I don't know if the Zerg's figured out a way to win.
That is going to be the real pain here. It's so hard to move your army around here as Zerg as well. It's like, well, Overlords are like very good dropping units, but when there's a bunch of Marines, turrets, science vessels flying around, feels really hard to get a good offensive drop-off.
Yeah, I agree. So Terran's slowed the game down a little bit. We've got more Ultras coming in. You know, maybe there's enough to try to take on this base. The thing is, Ultras are so bulky if they don't have Cracklings with them, and it's, you know, it's easy to move two Ultras in Overlords, but if you don't have Cracklings to kind of pair with that, they can't really get into these tight locations. Like that Ultra can't even get to that Marine that's on the other side of the barracks of the depot.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of run out of stuff to hit.
I love how he put the depot on top of the bunker so that they just can't get the surface area that they need. Like 4 Ultras will kill that bunker if they can hit it.
So, you know, it's so funny. It looked like the game was about to end, and I think it is close to ending, but I just don't know when herO's going to give up. It's a 3-base Zerg to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, soon to be 6-base Terran. I know there's not SCVs at these new bases, but like, I mean, how far ahead can you possibly be as Terran?
Yeah.
He has +3 attack, +2 armor. I mean, it's like he's got everything. He's now making the battle cruisers.
It's a terrible situation. I think that basically this drop we see from herO is the last thing he can try. Like, if he does a mass drop and somehow kills the main, that might be the only chance he has. Look at this. He scans it, though. He's going to get on top of those. Oh, God. You irradiate the Ultralisks. I mean, the Overlord's carrying the Ultralisks. And there's just, dude, there's no play left here from herO. I think we're going to see GG.
Yeah, he's going to try to unload these units. All of the Overlords are going to die. They cannot survive that. GG, we've got our finals ready to go. JyJ has done it. JyJ almost falls out of the chair.
Yeah.
Does
Jumping
manage
for-
to get it stabilized. Wow. What a best of 7 this was.
He was jumping for joy there, Tasteless. The chair going wild as well. This is the biggest moment in his career. JyJ has made it to the finals of ASL. This is something that the Terran community has been talking about for the past like three years or so. He's really been on the rise, and he's finally done it. This is a huge, huge result to take out herO in such a close series, 4-3.
Yeah. Kudos to him. herO devastated, of course. It's a tough map to win on, man. You know, it seems like really, even though herO held the cheese, the double port Wraith is just too good. It does seem like when Zerg is really disconnected from their expansion by ground, it is still hard to manage. A Sunken Colony and Mutas is not quite enough. And so JyJ, he is victorious, and we're going to have a pretty special TVT here.
Well, yeah, it's going to be an amazing finals, to be honest. Like, you know, TVT, people joke and groan and stuff, but honestly, at this top pro level, the games generally do not go very long. They're generally pretty decisive with the openers, but I think it should be a close one. Two very different styles going at it. The very modern, very new up-and-comer JyJ going up against one of the older players in ASL in mind.
Yeah, I mean, a player from the very, very OG days, almost 20 years ago. This guy was on top of the world. And what do you know, man? Another TVT here. Yeah, I mean, cool ending here. This is really the nail in the coffin, because you can't even afford to drop your Ultralisks in this, you know, circular island.
Yeah.
We saw the battle cruisers were coming in and wiping out the natural. There was even a push with infantry up at one of what would have been the 4th base. The Terran infantry were coming through and killing the Ultras. That was it.
Nothing really left here for herO to try to come back. He just took a little bit too much damage. Great game there from JyJ, really showing a lot of creativity, putting that game together.
We're going to go to an interview now and see how JyJ is feeling.
황영재 선수 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
정말 까다로운 카드 대 김민철벽에 이어서 조일장 선수까지 최상위권 저거들 연거푸 풀셋 접전에 무너뜨리면서 올라오게 되었습니다. 정말 힘든 경기였고 오늘 쉽지 않은 경기였는데요. 자, 이렇게 올라오게 됐는데 결승 진출한 소감 한 말씀 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
중간에 가드론에 죽을 때만 해도 아, 오늘 안 되겠다 했는데 결과가 이렇게 돼서 너무 기쁘네요.
네, 이번 시즌 그 한계를 돌파하면서 세 번째 8강 진출만에 4강 결승까지 올라왔는데 거의 이제 완벽한 경기, 흔들림 없는 경기, 중심을 잘 잡는 경기를 보여주면서 발전한 모습을 이번 시즌에 보여주고 있거든요. 자, 어떤 힘이 지금의 정영재 선수를 만든 겁니까?
여태까지 되게 잘해야 한다 이런 압박감 같은 게 있었는데 솔직히 이번 시즌은 맵도 안 좋고 막 그래서 마음을 많이 내려놓고 게임을 했는데 그게 오히려 되게 잘 됐던 것 같아요.
네. 엄청난 그 연습과 그리고 주변의 그 응원의 메시지들이 굉장히 좀 많았을 텐데 오늘 힘든 여정 끝에 지금 마지막 경기에서 준비해온 이 작전 1차, 2차, 3차 세 번째 그 견제까지 투스타까지 보여주면서 완벽한 판짜기를 이어나갔는데요. 오늘 경기에서 어느 순간 나 진짜 결승 가겠다 그런 생각 하셨습니까?
마지막 경기가 레이스 이럴 때만 해도 큰일 났다 생각했는데 그래도 워낙 유리했어서 그런지 마지막에 배틀로 상대의 뒤를 때릴 때 그때 올라갔다고 확신했어요.
네. 자, 이제 테란이 결승전을 기다리고 있는데 상대는 박성균 선수예요. 정영재 선수가 생각하는 박성균 선수 어떤 선수입니까?
저도 어떻게 올라왔는지 잘 모르겠는데 성균이 형도 어떻게 올라왔는지 잘 모르겠거든요.
오!
그냥 약간 서로 할만하다고 생각할 것 같습니다.
네. 정말 끝으로 지금 많은 팬분들이 이 정영재 선수의 이 행보에 응원의 메시지 보내주고 날마다 찾아와서 응원을 해주신 정말 소중한 분들이 계시잖아요. 그분들에게 감사 인사 부탁드리겠습니다.
이렇게 항상 찾아와 주시고 응원해 주시는 분들 제가 너무 감사드리고요. 그리고 연습 도와준 재혁이 형, 예훈이 형, 짭제, 태수, 명훈이 형, 한 명 더 있는데 감사합니다. 일단 다들 너무 감사드리고
네.
제가 언급 못하신 분들 풍선이라도 쏘도록 하겠습니다. 너무
네.
감사합니다.
다시 한번 축하의 말씀드리고 결승전에서 정말 멋진 경기 기대하겠습니다. 축하드려요.
감사합니다.
네. 자, 이렇게 생애 처음으로 ASL 결승전 올라간 정영재 선수의 이야기를 나눠봤습니다. 정말 많은
Well, there you have it, guys. JyJ is going on to the finals. This is a finals that no one in the world could have predicted.
Yeah, it is certainly a wild one. So many big upsets throughout the tournament, maybe including this one as well. The 4-3 match win here by JyJ. What a huge variety of different games we had here tonight.
It was a really special best of 7. I think, honestly, my favorite might have been the 4-pool. I mean, it's just such a crazy moment.
Yeah.
And to see herO play that out like that, and such a throwback to like the first few weeks of the game when that's what everybody did.
Yeah.
And to end it on 76, man, it did seem like JyJ had a much deeper understanding of how to basically play a very close, calm, confident game against Zerg after his kind of crazy factory float didn't quite work.
Yeah. The factory didn't get down for the longest time there. Even the 3 Marine rush didn't really do anything. Got cleaned up very, very quickly. But some great damage with those Wraiths. So picks up that victory and goes to the finals for that Terran versus Terran. It's crazy. First off, these two were not the two you would think would get into this round. You were thinking more of a Royal, a Rush, a Light. But for them to both make it through these brackets to the finals, I think it's been a dream road for JyJ since he's played so many Zergs to get here, and that really is his best matchup.
I'm happy for him. And what a cool story no matter who wins. JyJ, somebody who's been hungry to get there for so long. Even Flash saying that he was eventually going to have this moment. And he did it his own way. He found his own voice. He has a very different approach to the game. And then Mind comes back. Like, out of nowhere, dude. Mind had been in ASLs kind of looking, like whatever. Like maybe a round of 24 player. Maybe he gets in the round of 16. That's a surprise. Suddenly, he's in the greatest form we've ever seen. And he could win an ASL after not having been a champion in nearly 20 years.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be absolutely amazing, this finals, guys, if you can make it to it. Definitely treat yourself. There's nothing quite like a Star League finals in Korea.
It's hype. It's going to be on the 28th of this month, and it's going to be at the Coliseum. That's the studio you've been seeing it here at. It's at Jomshil Station. Look for underground where Lotte World is, where the ice skating rink is. It's kind of hard to find. I think it's by the Domino's Pizza. Is that correct, Tastosis?
That's right. That's right.
The Domino's Pizza. So I think people know about the Coliseum, but sometimes people don't. But if people working around there might know where the pizza place is.
Yeah. Make sure you get your tickets, though. That's the
get tickets, or you cannot get in.
That's the main thing. It's going to be sold out, I betcha. I mean, so many people want to go 100%. And watch the finals live. It's such a production. It's going to be amazing, and I think it's going to be a good one. Like TVT really can be a very dynamic matchup. There's a lot of openers. I'm very excited for it.
I look forward to it. It's been getting shorter and shorter and more interesting. It's really getting mapped out. It's a lot less sluggish and a lot less turtly. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you at the finals. We're going to try to get that recorded and produced as fast as possible so you can enjoy it. And check out the Patreon at patreon.com/ASL English. We love you. Take care. And until next time, bye-bye.